Alright, howdy folks. Happy Thursday. We are back for some more stories from Seoul. I was able to stream today, yay! It's been a very busy day. My brain is very tired, so I was saying yesterday we might get through the last bit of the game. I think I'll probably break it into 2 streams just because I don't know if my brain can do a long stream right through to the end. We'll see how far we get, but I think we can probably aim for 2 more. So this is, I'm gonna say, the second last one. Things happened yesterday. There was a mutiny on the ship, and I refused to go along with VANESSA, so now I'm trapped in my room, but we are Security Officer Supreme, so we can get out of this. I didn't really look at options before we jumped in, so we're gonna see what the options are and go from there. Hey, Mountain Dew, welcome on in. Okay, so this was... Oh, I guess I was mid-conversation. I thought I had stopped after conversation. No, I guess I'm still mid-thought here. Okay. You wince and draw your hand back from the wall panel next to your bunk, so Cruz was being a butthead. After spending half an hour unsuccessfully trying to find the cat to remove the panel, all you'd managed to do was snag your nail on the edge and tear it. Ow! With a loud exhalation, you moved from your bed to the computer terminal on the other side of the room. Oh, okay, so I guess I did try the bunk panel. Do they know about that? Damn, that was my lead. Okay. Computer was my next thought. You idly hit a few keys, but the only response you get is the screen displaying the same familiar text as the last few times you'd tried it. Access denied. Insufficient authority. As easy as it was to hate her, you had to give VANESSA credit. Her machinations had clearly been well thought through. Damn her. Nothing had been missed when it came to making sure you would remain imprisoned. You hadn't noticed it when you'd awoken earlier, but someone must have gone through your quarters whilst you were unconscious. Small items like your nail scissors and metal bookmark had been taken, leaving you with nothing to pry open the access panels. Ugh, so thorough. Sitting down on the chair in front of the terminal, you wondered, oh my god, why is it every time I try to start streaming, my computer's like, let's do updates? No. Sitting down on the chair in front of the terminal, you wondered how long she'd been planning this and how much she'd accounted for. I mean, it's been a while. We had inklings towards the start of the game, if I recall. Placing your elbows on the keyboard and your head in your hands, you sigh again. You'd gone through every trick you'd learned in your time as a security officer, and none of them were helping you get out of here. Leaning back and looking at your watch, you see it's been nearly 6 hours since you'd been imprisoned. You'd felt the rumble of the Gundog's engines coming back to life about 3 hours ago. It would only be a matter of days now until you arrived back at Europa Colony. Hello, Cha-chan! Welcome on in. We're very trapped and it's very frustrating. That's your Thursday. Waiting for you there, if VANESSA was successful, was a trial for treachery. You put your head in your hands again at the thought. There was only one outcome for a guilty verdict on that charge. Execution! Hot damn! Okay, that changes the stakes a bit. I thought we would maybe get, like, imprisoned or secluded somewhere. They're just gonna straight up kill us. Right. Okay. Not great. Ugh. Leaning back in the chair, you stared listlessly at the ceiling. Oh, you have a cold. Sadness. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope it recovers soon. There had to be something you could do. Well... Oh! Hang on. We still have Cassie's card. That changes everything, and we have the silent voice milk chocolate bar. Great on its own or dunked in a hot drink. It's also one of the favorites of a particular head of operations. I thought they would have taken this off of me. What were they thinking, not checking my person for this? Okay. You took my gun, but not my card, you fools. Let's just look around before I do anything. I could probably use that to open the thing, right? I haven't got access to anything, not even my mail or calendar. Like, I could probably use it to leave the room, but I don't trust them to not catch me. I'd rather go through the panel. It's not like it makes a difference. I've never been much good with computers anyway. been locked the last 10 times I've checked it, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. I need to get to Chief. I think that's my best bet. I always wished I could have a few minutes longer in bed each morning. I guess that wish has come true. You're gonna have permanent access to a nap soon enough. Suppose I've got the time I need to catch up on my reading now. I wonder if I can make it through the last 6 books before we get back to the Europa colony. Power read. At least I've got enough clean uniforms to last me until we get back to Europa colony. Gotta look good for my trial. Okay, so let's try this. Oh, no, I guess I have to use... You kneel down by the storage drawers set in the frame underneath your bunk and push on one, causing the drawer to spring open and slide towards you. Pulling it as far out as it will go, you shove your possessions to either side and lean in to get a view of the inside. Rats! As you'd suspected, the underside of your bed is sealed off with more metal paneling, and the drawer is designed to catch on the inner framework before it slides all the way out. With the main material in its construction being steel, and everything being welded together, you know you've got no chance of pulling the drawer out and crawling through. Scratch that idea. Okay, never mind. And I use the... You spend a few moments examining the control pad next to the door, tapping on the casing, pressing buttons, and investigating the wiring that runs out from underneath it, before settling on your course of action. Hey! Hey, Romney! You gonna let me out or what? Hey, Romney, can you hear me? Let me out! Shut up, Pharaoh. Yeah, that one as well as I expected. Okay, so you're just chilling out there. That's not gonna work either then. Sighing, you run your hands through your hair, wondering if there's anything left for you to try. You're just about to make another attempt at levering the panel next to your bunk off the wall when someone knocks loudly on the door. Step back from the door, Pharaoh. What do you want, Romney? Just shut up and do it. With a sigh, you move back to the far side of your quarters. You moved? Yeah. Now you just stay there, Pharaoh. Roll your eyes. What did they think you were going to do? You're lucky the captain's so generous. You get room service. Oh, Dylan! As Haru steps back, Dylan comes around the corner carrying a tray of food from the vendor in the mess hall. Hey, Lieutenant, how's it? Whoa, less chat there, Dees. Tray on the ground and walk away. Yeah, chill out, Romney, whatever. Muttering under his breath, Dylan lays the tray on the ground halfway between you and the door and walks out of the room with Haru keeping their gun trained on you the entire time. Don't worry, Pharaoh. I had Dees leave the pickles in. I know you love them. That was unnecessary. Is there cutlery here that I could use? Looking down at the tray, you see it's a fairly standard meal. Burger, fries, and a soda from one of the vending machines. You had to assume that Dylan had chosen this for you as you couldn't imagine either of the pilots being so generous. Aw, my buddy. It was just a shame about the pickles. Thanks, Romney. I'm touched you remembered. Hey, you know me, Pharaoh. Always looking out for my buddies. We're not buddies. Now stay where you are. With her free hand, Haru reaches for the control panel on the opposite side of the door. In a second, the door slides shut and you hear the click of its lock. You sigh to yourself. You weren't happy about the situation you were in, but at least they were feeding you. Well, let's nom some food then. You take the meal tray over to the terminal and sit down on the chair, balancing your food on the keyboard in order to use it as a makeshift table. Pull back the top of the bun, ready to remove the inevitable slimy slices of pickle, when you find an entirely unexpected ingredient. Ha! Dylan! Yes! That's my boy! That's my heckin' boy, Dylan! Resting between the imitation lettuce and beef is a small pocket screwdriver, just short enough to be hidden within the burger. That's my bestie, man. New bestie achieved. Grabbing it with a napkin, you inspect it. Not only is it small enough to wedge between the gaps in the panels that make up the ship's ceilings, walls, and floors, but it's also got the right size head to unscrew any fixtures you may come across. Oh, this is perfect! You whisper to yourself. You got a screwdriver! You stand up to put it to use, but your stomach immediately roars in protest. Okay, first things first, I guess. Using the screwdriver to extract the slices of pickle that sit atop the burger, you quickly devour both it and the fries. Alright, now it's time. Okay, so... might be small enough to hide inside a burger. I'm hoping I can use it over here. Not sure how much I can accomplish here, but it's worth a try. Item? I can't seem to... If I try and use it on the door, is Haru still out there? Oh, there we go. Okay, I was like, that doesn't seem right. Let's see how good Cassie's knowledge of illicit, shipped-based activities is. Who am I kidding? Knowing her, if there's a way to break a rule without getting caught, she knows it. You inspect the floor panel below you, finding where it meets another panel, kneeling down to run your hands over where there's a visible gap between the two. Feel a flutter of hope in your chest as you find the gap is wide enough to fit the screwdriver into. A tentative exploration with your fingertips reveals the edges of catches that you can barely touch. Looks like this might be my way out. Item. There we go. It's like, why is this not? You take the screwdriver from your pocket and slide it into the gap in the seams between floor panels. You slowly begin sliding it along the seam, and it's only a few seconds before you feel it catch on something. It doesn't take you long to use a screwdriver to release the catch you encountered, a process that you're easily able to repeat on each one you run into, the panel noticeably lifting away from the floor as you do so. After a few minutes of work, you undo the last catch. Despite its unwieldy size, you're able to shift the panel out of its original position without creating much noise, feeling a 3-foot drop down into a small tunnel that disappears into darkness in both directions. Wiping the sweat from your brow, you dust off your hands as you look over the passageway you've revealed. Okay, let's heckin' go, y'all. As you stand above the entrance that you've just revealed, you look around your quarters one more time. Let's see, is there anything else I need to do in here? Or should I get going? Once I go, there's no coming back. I don't know, is there? I forgot to take my decongestant. I knew I forgot to do something before stream. Okay, I might need to take a break to do that, but for now I'm okay. We've looked at everything, so I assume we're good. Let's leave. You gaze into the darkness that lies ahead of you. After a few moments of thought, your mind is made up. It's time to go. You grab the floor panel and slide it into a position where you'll be able to easily replace it once you've entered the crawlway. Once it's in place, you lower yourself down into the space underneath the floor, kneel down and slowly drag the panel over the opening above you. It takes you a few attempts to get it into the correct position, but eventually you have it and all the mounts slide neatly back into the catches that had secured it in place. Now in absolute darkness, you drop to your knees and reach out with your one hand, groping at the darkness. Hey ZZ! Welcome. Not being a mutineer! That's right, we refused. I, just on principle, will not side with Vanessa. But then we got thrown in our room, but Dylan is our bestie and gave us a screwdriver, so we have a chance. Got no idea what lies ahead, but you begin to crawl forward. The absolute darkness of the crawlway leaves you disoriented as you fumble your way forwards. Every now and again you hit a corner, a drop, or a rise that adjusts your trajectory. Hearing nothing but the gentle hum of the ship's systems or your own awkward shuffling, and unable to make out anything except for a dry, musty scent that has replaced the sterile smell that permeates the gun dog, you quickly lose your sense of distance and location. With nowhere to go but onwards, you continue slowly. You have no idea how long it's taken you, but you realize that you're able to distinguish the vague features of your surroundings. Sharp edges are now ever so slightly visible, and the seams and bolts that make up the inside of the crawlways have faded into view. Renewed by the potential That light coming from somewhere must mean there's an opening leading into some accessible part of the ship up ahead. You speed up, taking advantage of your restored vision to make your way forward without incident. I want to do a playthrough where I side with Vanessa just to see if I can sabotage some mutiny. Double mutiny. That would be very satisfying because then you get to like trick her and then have that, aha, I fooled you reveal moment. That would be very satisfying. I did do a save right before I made the choice, so I'll probably go back and do the same too. Screw you, Vanessa. You're the worst. You turn a corner and are met with a shaft of light that is broken up by the slow and lazy rotation of an overhead fan. Finally! As you continue toward the light, you also see that your singular path is now divided with new routes branching off in different directions, albeit with no indication of where they might head. Ooh, I have to make choices. I want to talk to Chief. I feel like Chief is my best option to strategize here. But I don't know which direction things go to. As you come level with the crawlway that branches off to your left, you notice almost imperceptible sounds echoing off in the distance. Would that be engineering? You hold your breath and angle your ear toward the darkness that they come from and focus, trying to identify them. It takes you some time to be able to distinguish the faint sounds properly from the general thrum of the Gundog systems, but as you concentrate, you realize you can make out the whir of motors, the sound of metal colliding with metal, and tools being used. Oh, that could be, cadet, maybe. Yeah, that would be the hangar. It's too quiet to be engineering, which means that this way leads to... Okay, so I'm just gonna make a little jot note to myself. Hangar left, middle right, and right. Oh, what's that? You look up to see the source of light and shield your eyes as it dazzles you. Mutiny the mutineer, that is the goal. Squinting, you're able to make out that whatever is illuminating the area of the crawlways you found yourself in sits on the other side of a large spinning fan blade, roughly 15 feet above you. Wonder where that is. Up equals question mark? I'm not sure off the top of my head reading that. Okay, do your best to make out anything that might indicate. All you make out is pure darkness. Okay, there's no movement of air, sound, or smell that could indicate where it leads. So that's darkness. Alright. As ominous as it seems, you know you can't ignore it. You have to take every opportunity if you're going to free Cassie. Okay, we'll get to that, but I want to find Chief. I need to strategize, and she's the one I most trust to do that. Okay, let's go to the right. Thank you. Your nose twitches. The entire time you'd been crawling away from your quarters, all you'd smelt had been a stale musk. Not unpleasant, but a clear indicator that the crawlways were not used regularly, and certainly weren't as well ventilated as the rest of the ship. I wonder if we have space spiders in the ventilation. That would be very unhappy for me. Now, though, you could pick up the slight hint of something new, but also familiar. Is that the food? The mess hall, maybe? You pause to sniff the air, trying to identify the light hints of fragrance that drift your way. Taking in a few deep breaths, you pick up notes of something sweet, but also a slight burning tang topped off by a chemical tinge. I think I know where this leads. Okay, so that has all the smells. As you twist to change your position, or would that be captain's quarters maybe, if it's got the... Was that her room with the whiskey? Not sure. As you twist to change your position in order to examine one of the new crawlways you found, you lay your hand on the wall and notice a slight but constant vibration. Running your hand along the paneling, you feel the occasional pulse of a more powerful, regular vibration. There's only one thing on this ship that creates a vibration like that. That's probably where this crawlway leads. Okay, I think I'm gonna go with that one. I assume that's engineering. Is there any other places I have not seen? It looks like it's 5 options. Okay, we're gonna try using this one. E21, so I assume that's like E-engineering, H is hangar. There's another HO or H8. and C2, so that could be Cassie. We're gonna go here. Yeah. Confident that you knew where this path would lead, you resume your journey through the ship's crawlways, steadily heading away from the light and towards more darkness. Within a mere 2 turns, you're once again enveloped in the blackness of the ship's inner workings, and you carefully shuffle forward, making sure not to let any sudden obstacles or shifts in direction catch you off guard. At first, the constant vibrations were only noticeable when you made a special effort to feel for them in the walls or floor of the crawlway, but as you continue, you start to sense them passing through you. Eventually, they turn from a physical sensation to a constant noise that fills the dark tunnels. Find yourself moving in time with the rhythm that pulses through you, inching forward with each beat you feel. For every length of crawlway that you clear, the sensation grows stronger and stronger, leaving you to wonder how the engines haven't shaken the ship apart yet. Not long before you eventually turn another corner and are met with a shower of illumination. Shafts of light fall around you from the gratings above, all the more visible due to the cloud of dust you've kicked up on your travels. Oh no, I'm allergic. Moving forward and looking up through the grating, you recognize enough machinery to know that you're near the entrance to the engineering department. You tentatively test the grating above you by pushing against it with your forearm, and find that it lifts away freely with no need to unfasten any screws, bolts, or fastenings. Welcome relief from the catches and clasps you've had to deal with so far. Twisting onto your back so that you can better manipulate the grating without creating any noise, you've only just begun to push it upwards when it slams back down into place with a loud clang. Hi! Hello-chan! Thank you for paying off your library fines. Like a good and responsible patron, how's it going? You quickly release the grating and, with no time to swivel onto your front, crawl away, start shuffling back towards the dark crawlways. I hope that's Chief. Before you can get out of there, blah. You see the soles of a pair of boots step over you, clanking against the steel grille of the flooring above. Oh hi, please, please, please be on my side. Fancy meeting you here, Lieutenant Farrow. With a terrifyingly effortless ease, the Chief squats down and pulls up the grating with one hand. With the other, she grabs you by the collar and yanks you out of the crawlway, roughly depositing you on the floor before replacing the grating. Hi. You got permission from the captain to be out and about? Chief, Hold that thought, Lieutenant. Come here. Taking hold of your upper arm with a grip far more powerful than you could have suspected, the Chief begins to drag you away. You struggle to try to free yourself, but a combination of her raw strength and you being constantly off balance makes escape impossible. Chief, hey, give me a second to explain. Chief! Chief, come on! Stopping only to swipe her keycard through a terminal next to a door, the Chief continues to drag you behind her as she marches on into the newly unlocked area. Only once she's put some distance between her and the entrance does she stop, throwing you in front of her as she does. Alright, Lieutenant, we can talk now. Chief, damn it, I was trying to explain. Why do you think I brought you here, Lieutenant? The entrance to this department's wide open. Didn't want anyone catching sight of you somewhere you shouldn't be. That was very considerate, thank you. Especially not if it gets me mixed up in this whole cluster. You're already kinda mixed up in it, just saying. Pressed to even manage to find your way into the crawlways, to be honest. Don't know how you got in there, though. Access from the quarters would... As the Chief's attention is pulled away from you to the hypotheticals of your escape, you assume that, given she's not raised the alarm, she isn't going to be dragging you back to your quarters or handing you over to the ensigns. Oh, someone hid this in my meal. I used it to... So that's what Deez wanted it for. Aww, he's so great. He told me he needed it to replace the batteries on his cassette player. I told him to bring it to me and I could install some extra long-life military issue ones. Never seen that guy so insistent about anything the entire time I've known him, though, so I just handed it over in the end. Aw, what a bro, man. Thought it was strange. No way he would pass up the chance to extend his player's lifespan. Should have known that he was planning something. Probably has no idea how screwed he is if he gets found out. Yeah, please don't tell anyone. Chief, listen. Take it easy, Lieutenant. I'm not gonna throw you in front of the new captain or her goons. Honestly, I admire the guts you've got to making it this far. Have you got a brain to go with them, though? What's your plan? Gonna try and raid the armory? Take the ship back by force? I was hoping you could help me make a plan. Maybe? I'll try to sabotage it. Buy yourself some time. Because you listen to me, Lieutenant. I swear to God, if you screw with anything in here, I don't care if it's to deal with Lord, Chief! I'm not going to mess with anything, I promise. Good to know. I've got a job here, and that's to keep this ship running, no matter who's at the helm. And if you get between me and the smooth operation of this vessel, Lord's punishment won't be half as creative as mine. Well, so Lieutenant, what's your plan? Bartimeus and Quinn are locked up. Lord's taking control of the ship, and the crew's not got enough skin in the game to push back. Let's hear it. I was really hoping we could work together. We take a second to assess, because, I could have asked the OG captain, but she's not very proactive, it seems like. And Cassie's still having weird headaches, so I felt like Chief was my best bet. Take a second to assess the Chief's demeanor. You could see she was stressed out by the situation, but from what you made of her, she wasn't the sort of person who'd hand you over to VANESSA as soon as you were done explaining your plan. Alright, well, the way I figure, everyone's only going along with Lord because they've got more to lose than gain if they stick up for the captain. For accusations, they kind of stack up if you don't look too closely. Both Captain Bartimeus and Commander Quinn were out of action when the Gundog went offline, and Quinn is the immediate suspect in the Doctor's murder. But I know there's no way Quinn could have done it. There's no way she'd have done any of it. And if the captain wasn't around, I don't think that was on purpose. Not with how I saw her. If we can disprove these accusations with evidence, we can show the rest of the crew it'll be them getting charged as traitors due to this mutiny. Because I need evidence. Once we do that, they'll side with us over VANESSA easily. Even the Ensigns have more sense than to stick with her. Well, you might have a point there. As it is, Lord taking command could be seen by the JCF as a reasonable course of action, given what her actions are based on. How do you plan on proving her wrong, Lieutenant? You're going to need some good evidence to undermine her arguments. Well, you'd thought the broad strokes of the plan through, but you hadn't really had the time to consider the specifics. You've been too focused on navigating your way around the ship and finding out where you could access. Yeah, exactly. I was hoping that I'd be able to get some help with that one, Chief. From you. ... With a flex. Nice try, Lieutenant, but that's not happening. Damn it! Sorry to burst your bubble there, but there's no chance I'm gonna get wrapped up in Lord's games. Come on! You're a Union woman. Let's stand up together. Ah, man, that's probably the most painful thing that's happened to me this entire game. If you want help, you're gonna need someone else. Right now, I've got to make sure these engines keep ticking over. If I'm lucky, I can find a chance to get the long-range communication system back up and running before we get to Europa Colony. Chief, wait! Oh, that hurts me deeply. Without giving you a chance to even try and convince her otherwise, Chief has already turned her back on you and is striding out of the door she dragged you through earlier. Chief! You chase after her, following her through the doorway and grabbing her by the unyielding muscle of her upper arm. Chief, wait, just hear me out. Okay. In an instant, the Chief grabs your wrist, pulling your hand off her and angling your forearm away from you in a way that almost sends you to your feet. I told you, Lieutenant, I've got one job, making sure this ship keeps sailing. Got nothing against you, nothing against what you're trying to do, but keep me out of it. These engines are still touch and go right now, so if we want to make it back to Europa, they're gonna need my full attention. I don't have the time to get dragged into stupid little personal grudges or power plays. Girl, power plays? Union woman like you? That's so disappointing. The Chief releases your wrist, which you draw back quickly, the pain from the awkward angle it had been held at shooting up through your forearm. I like Lord as much as you do. I'd love to see her get taken down a peg or two. Hell, I'd love to take her down myself. With that, the Chief turns on her heels and strides away towards the engine room. You chase after her, calling out to her to give you another chance to explain, but your pleas have no effect. You're being completely ignored. Eventually, she arrives at the entrance to one of the engine rooms, and before you can stop her, steps through and closes it behind her, leaving you stuck on the opposite side. Damn it, Chief! I need your help! there's gotta be something I can do to get her to listen to me. If I could talk to her one more time, I'm sure she'd come around. Huh. I'm trying to think what I could do to convince her. Or if I should just try going to talk to someone else? Okay, that did not go as well as I hoped. I was so sure she'd help me. I don't know if there's anything in these. Oh, okay. Central computer. If I'm going to prove Cassie innocent, I bet there's some important information on here that will help me do it. You approach the door that leads into the computer's control room and stop. You'd instinctively reached into your pocket to take out your keycard, before remembering that Hansen had taken it from you just before he'd locked you in your quarters. Without that card, you had no way of getting through. I have Cassie's, though. The door was sealed shut, and the only way of opening it was the terminal to its side. With a sigh of frustration, you run your hand over the door's disappointingly static surface. Nothing I can do right now, I guess. No, wait. Yeah? Hang on. You reach into your skirt pocket and feel the hard, thin edge of a keycard. You knew that Hansen had taken yours, so this must be... Yeah, little flashback. You fools. Okay, Ha! Thanks, Vanessa. With a smug sense of satisfaction, you swipe the card through the terminal next to the door and step through into the small room beyond. Once inside, the door closes behind you, and you're left bathed in the noxious glow of the monitor's light. You tentatively lay your hands on the keyboard and think. Vanessa appears to have sealed her own demise. Foolish woman, you thought you could outsmart me. How could you not check all of my pockets? What a dumbwit. Right. Now I'm here, I can... You step back with a sigh. I have no idea what I'm doing here. Wait, you're not even gonna try? You dejectedly turn around and leave the room. Okay, well, at least I know I can get in if I need to, I guess. Should we try at Cassie's room if we can get there? I guess we could try. You approach the door quietly. Still smug at how Vanessa had handed you the means to get around your imprisonment, you swipe the card through the terminal next to the door and step into the engine room. I'm scared to talk to her because it said I could have like one more chance. What if I only have like actual one shot at this? Despite the vast size of this area, it doesn't take you long to spot the chief, who stood over a large control panel. Alright, let's try again. I did save if I need to. I'll save again just to be safe. I have hit the paranoia stage. Okay. Chief! You'd been surprised at how quickly the chief had dismissed you when you'd asked for help. Although you'd assumed she might take a little bit of convincing, you weren't ready for her to completely reject your request like that. Yeah, that hurt me very badly. As you approach her, you take a few deep breaths, slowing your breathing as you feel your apprehension grow. You knew by how forceful her rejection had been that this wouldn't be easy, but at the same time you also knew that you needed to at least try and convince her to help you. I feel like I need evidence or something. Without the chief's assistance, carrying out your plan would be much more difficult. Nearing the control panel that she stood at, you let out one final long exhalation and draw yourself up to your full height, your attempt at appearing confident more in order to convince yourself. More in order to convince yourself than the chief. Power stance. Spatial distribution of the neuron flux shows reaction rates within parameters. Now that should mean energy releases. Chief, please, I really need you to hear me out. Should mean energy releases. For a moment you consider reaching out to turn her towards you, but you know better than to try and assert yourself physically with the chief. Instead, you bring yourself closer than you're comfortable with and raise your voice. Chief, I know what you said, but please, I need your help. Lieutenant, I told you that I need to keep an eye on these engines. How'd you even get in here? Crew's not take your key card? Gotta give you points for tenacity. I don't think there's any ducks or crawlways leading here since... Chief, that doesn't matter right now. I know you don't want to get mixed up in this, but I need your help. I know what I need to do, but I can't do it alone. I need you, Chief. The chief lets out a loud sigh that clearly communicates her exasperation at your persistence. You clench your teeth and take a deep breath before continuing. If you push your luck too far, you know that at the very least you'll probably get physically thrown out of the room and the lock will be manually overridden. But at the same time, you're aware of how this isn't something you can simply give up on out of fear of upsetting someone. You're damn right I don't want to get involved, Lieutenant. I've got a ship to get back to Europa, and it doesn't matter who's on the bridge when it gets there, just that it gets there. Now whatever's happened to these engines during that blackout isn't making that job easy. For the last time, Pharaoh, get out of my way, and do what you gotta do, but leave me out of it. Or do I need to get you out of the way myself? With a single step, the chief is right in front of you, looming over you, her bulk filling your field of vision. You instinctively go to take a step back, but stop just before you do, mustering all your confidence to stand your ground against the chief's imposing physicality. Squaring your shoulders and widening your stance, you do your best to assert yourself. Chief, I want to get the Gundog back to Europa just as much as you do, but you know it's not about the ship, it's about the people on board. You care about people? Union woman, come on! Appeal to humanity! What good is getting us all back to Europa if half the crew's going to be put on trial for something that they didn't do? What's the point in making sure the engines are working if the ship could be ripped apart by some enemy machine, all because our pilots are playing security guard and there's no one to stop it? You don't look after this ship for its own sake. You look after this ship because of the crew, Chief. You know that. ... For a moment you feel a flutter of relief within your chest, but you focus, not wanting to get too far ahead of yourself. It looks like the chief is coming around to you, but you've not convinced her yet. I know that you've got important work to do right here, but if we don't deal with VANESSA now, we can't guarantee that there'll even be a Gundog to get back to Europa. Besides, we all know your work is so good that these engines won't go offline if you leave them for a few hours. I mean, it did get sabotaged once, from what we know. You'd have made sure of that. If I had better options, I wouldn't be asking you, Chief, but I need you, please. You're telling me you're doing this for everyone on this ship, Lieutenant? Not just you and Quinn? Of course I'm doing it for everyone, except VANESSA. That's right, Chief. Obviously Commander Quinn's important to me, but... I'm the ship's security officer. It's my job to make sure everyone stays safe, and I can't let them down like this. I can't. The chief inhales through closed teeth and furrows her brow. I think we got her. Everything's stable right now. No sign of unusual output. I could... Why do this now, Lieutenant? If you think Quinn and the captain can be proved innocent, why don't you just wait till we get back to Europa, bring it up at the tribunal? The chief raises a good point. Your intent was to prove Cassie, the captain, and yourself innocent, but by rights the tribunal that would investigate this mutiny would be the perfect place for that. But you knew it wouldn't be so simple. I get what you're saying, Chief, but VANESSA would have thought of that already. She wouldn't have done this if she didn't think she'd get away with it. It'll be like that time on the bridge earlier. You know that her story won't line up with what happened, and I bet you that she'll have adjusted the reports to support her case. That's why I need to find this evidence now. Even if I can't convince the rest of the crew to get Bartermuse back in the captain's seat, at least I'll have something I can use at the tribunal. The longer we wait, the more chance that evidence gets adjusted or deleted. Seeing the chief taking her time to consider your points, you know you're onto something. Even if she doesn't, do you think they'll listen to someone who's been set up as a traitor? If VANESSA's story even seems like it holds water, they'll probably just write me off. But we don't need to let it get that far. I'm sure if we can show the rest of the crew that VANESSA's story will fall apart as soon as we get to Europa, they'll refuse to serve under her. Even Hansen and Haru won't stand up for her if they know it'll be their necks on the line. With everyone on side, we'll stand a chance if that thing reactivates. Otherwise, we might never make it back. You make some good points, Lieutenant. The elation you feel at that response almost makes you giddy, a feeling you temper with pragmatism. You can't be sure you've convinced the chief just yet. Oh god, my vocal cords. Hang on. I'm going to hydrate. But are you sure you want to be doing this? I mean, it's this or die. It's kind of what I've been told, so... What? Of course, I need to... You're locked up now, but no one's gonna blame security for standing up for their captain, especially after everything you've done. You certain you want to be sticking your neck out like this? It's the principle of the thing, Chief. Don't you understand? I wouldn't be here if I wasn't, Chief. I might feel that way now, Pharaoh. But step away for a second, give it some thought. Sometimes when you're trying to fix something, the real solution isn't obvious till you take some time to think it over. Might be other options, you know. I want you to make sure you're serious about doing this, Lieutenant. You're serious, you know that. Part of you wants to tell the Chief that here and now. But at the same time, you know that you don't want to risk pushing her too far. You've almost won her over, and if you look like you haven't thought this through, you might do all that you've done to convince her. Oh my god, I'm so stressed. You breathe out and let your shoulders drop, letting some of the tension that you'd built up leave your body. We're so close! Hi, Silas! I'd like to say they're going well, but there's been a mutiny, and if we don't figure out how to counter it, I'm probably gonna end up dead, so, you know. Yeah, okay, Chief. I'll make sure this is what I want to do. Thanks for hearing me out. No sweat, Lieutenant. Seems like your heart's in the right place. Just need to make sure your head is too. Without hesitation, the Chief turns back to the control panel that she'd been working at and resumes whatever it is that she'd been doing before you interrupted her. Maybe there were other options, but could any of them be as good as getting the Chief to help you out? I feel like she's my best bet, but I did not cause the mutiny. I rebelled against the mutiny. Thank you very much. You'd have to give that some thought. Okay, I feel like I should go investigate my other options. I do still want to get Chief on board, though. Okay, let's go back. Let's look at some of the other areas. See if we can get some evidence. Do that, or should I go see Dalton? I assume that's what this is. Moving away from the illuminated nexus between the various crawlways, you follow another twisting path of identical, indistinguishable tunnels, and it doesn't take long for you to find yourself in total darkness once again. Unlike your journey from your quarters to the lit segment you'd just taken a break at, you were confident of where you were heading as the previously muffled sounds were growing louder with every corner you turned. The erratic noises of different pieces of machinery and equipment punctuate your journey with their irregular rhythm. Unlike the constant background noise of the engineering department, this was the sound of someone hard at work. As you continue to move through your twisting shaft, you notice a strange sense of lightness to your movements, which you initially dismiss as numbness from the time spent hunched over and crawling. No, we're losing gravity. It isn't until you push against the floor with one leg and inadvertently send yourself gently gliding forward that you realize you're leaving the area under the influence of the ship's gravity net. You hold your arms out in front of you to ensure you don't slam face first into the end of the current length of the tunnel, thankful that you hadn't pushed with much force when you feel cool steel on your palms. Feeling around to determine the direction you'd be heading in next, you eventually identify a turn to the right and carefully propel yourself off the crawlway wall. Soon enough, you manage to adapt to this method of movement, propelling yourself by pushing off the tunnel walls or pulling yourself along the occasional pipe or protrusion. Eventually, you turn a corner and, for the first time since you'd started down this path, you see the faint glow of light. Moving towards it, you realize that it's the outline of a hatch built into one of the walls. Now the sounds are almost as loud as if you were in the room with the machinery. You can clearly make out the dull thrum of a gantry crane moving from one end of its rail to the other, interrupted by the irregular sound of an impact driver. Hey Dart, how's it going? Just stopping in to say hello and wish you a good stream. Thank you so much. Hope you throw Vanessa out of the airlock. Me too. It hasn't happened yet, but I'm holding on to the possibility. Once you make your way over to the hatch, you grasp its faintly illuminated handle and twist. As you feel the mechanism disengage, you slowly push it open and peer through the gap. As you'd expected, the noises had guided you to the hangar, which you'd take your time to carefully survey, looking up for Hansen, Haru, or any other member of the crew that you didn't want to run into. A Aside from the Dalton, who is hard at work on Hansen's Juno and completely unaware of your presence, you don't see anyone. I don't know if we can convince Dalton. He's my sweet baby bean, but he's also very jumpy and nervous. I'll see what he has to say. Alright, let's go. He did come in clutch when it mattered most, so I do trust him when the time comes. Hi, Dalton. You perform another quick scan of the hangar to ensure that it's still just you and the cadet who are around before kicking off a nearby wall towards Dalton. Did you know that VANESSA blamed you for the panel being loose? You can tell he is completely absorbed in his work, and it isn't until you lay your hand on his shoulder, at least announce that we're here, gonna scare him, that he has any idea there's someone in the hangar with him.
Ah, Chief! I was just finishing off the final recoupling of the new bell bulb. Now I can't even talk, I'm so scared. New bell nozzles up to the directional.
Startled, Dalton swivels to face you, the look of terror on his face instantly replaced with one of pure confusion.
Oh, it's you, Lieutenant. Wait! What are you doing out of your quarters? You're supposed to be locked up until we get back to Europa. They said you were a traitor. Is this a breakout? You've come to take me out. It's part of your conspiracy.
Oh, this was not how I expected to go. Dalton, come on. I thought we were bros, man.
No, help me.
In his panic, Dalton shoves you away from him, then turns and scrambles away using whatever purchase he can find on the armored frame surface. Once out of your reach, he kicks off the machine. Fortunately for you, he doesn't make solid contact, his feet instead catching it at an awkward angle, which sends him drifting away slowly, despite his writhing and thrashing. Dalton, shut up and get back here! You launch yourself after him and manage to grab his ankle, anchoring yourself to the front of the Juno with your free hand before he's too far away. Despite his loud protestations and best attempts to free himself, you drag the cadet back towards the Juno.
Help! I'm gonna be
As he continues to thrash around, it takes most of your strength to pin Dalton to the armored frame, a challenge that is made all the more difficult by the lack of gravity. Using your legs to brace yourself on a nearby safety rail, you pin him with one arm and cover his mouth with the other, making sure that he isn't going anywhere or alerting anyone. Dalton, please calm down. I'm not here to hurt you, I'm here to... Cadet, get a hold of yourself. I'm not here to hurt you. That's right, just take it easy. I'm going to let go of you, okay? I just want to talk. Apprehensively, you slowly release your grip on Dalton and remove your hand from his mouth. He slumps into the microgravity, remaining in place.
But Lieutenant, you shouldn't be out here. They said you were a co-conspirator with Commander Quinn and the captain, that you had to be...
Who said that, Dalton?
I mean, Captain Lord and the ensign said.
And do you really believe them?
Well, that's, But she said...
You sigh with exasperation, holding up both of your hands to stop Dalton before he spirals back into an anxious ramble. If I was a traitor to the ship, you think I'd have done everything I've done to make sure everyone has stayed safe? Like getting the power back online, securing that machine? Look, I'm sorry I scared you, Cadet, but this is really important. Lieutenant Lord is lying about everything. Captain Bartermuse and Commander Quinn have nothing to do with what's been happening, and there's no way that Quinn could have killed the doctor. That's why I'm here. I need your help to... Oh god, we shouldn't have come here. Hey. You hear Ensign Rumney's call echo out across the hangar. Fortunately, the two of you are behind the Juno and can't be seen from the entrance. No. Taking advantage of this, you shunt Dalton towards them, using him as a distraction as you slip into the Juno's open cockpit and out of sight. Please don't. Oh my god, I'm stressed. For a moment, you consider closing the hatch, but you realize that there's no way Haru would miss that happening, and with Dalton floating towards them, they'd instantly get suspicious. Instead, you get as far back into the cockpit as you can and freeze. Whoa, geez, kid, be careful. What were you doing floating around like that? And what's with the screaming? Something happening here?
Oh, I was just,
What's that? What's going on here, huh? Holding your breath and staying as still as possible, Your grip tightens onto the back of the seat. All you can do is hope that Dalton doesn't give you away, man. This game knows how to ramp up the stress. I was not expecting this at all.
Well, it was because
Kid, spit it out. Is there something wrong with the AF?
Oh, no. There's nothing wrong. Nothing. It's all fine. It's just...
Seriously, what have you done? Do I need to check it out? You hold your breath and grate your teeth. The sound of what you had to presume was Haru knocking on the frame's armor rings through the cockpit.
It was nothing.
I just got the impact driver caught on my jumpsuit, and then it started going because I accidentally hit the trigger and everything started bunching up and I couldn't stop it because... All right, kid, okay. Take it easy.
Yes, Sunshine.
You all good?
Yes, Sunshine, thank you. I got it off by...
Okay, cool, got it. Just, stay calm next time, alright?
Yes, Sunshine, I will, sorry.
Alright, well, if that's it.
Yes, Sunshine, it is nothing to worry about.
Thank you, Dalton, for not giving me away. Take it easy, kid. Haru, I know there's goodness in you. You can be so chill with folks. I know we can appeal to you. I believe it in my soul. You remain still within the tense silence, doing your best not to move, trying as hard as you can not to even breathe. As far as you could tell, Haru had left, but you have no way of knowing for sure. Remaining motionless, you stay hidden in the cockpit until...
Lieutenant, it's safe to come out now.
Feel a little guilty for your paranoia, but wanting to make sure you're ready for anything, you assume Ensign Romney is waiting in ambush and spring out of the cockpit. Whatcha? Ooh, I should probably go to Armory, I just realized, and get a shotgun. That's probably a good priority for me. Fortunately, all you're met with is a still hanger and a fretful Cadet Grange. Sorry about... Oh, that's Dalton.
Sorry about that, Lieutenant. I didn't mean to get you in trouble, I just...
Looking around to make certain that you're alone with Dalton once again. It's a few seconds before you respond. Hey, don't worry about it, Cadet. Thank you for covering for me there.
Yeah, no problem. But what do you want me for? Why are you here? I didn't want to believe what they said about you and the captain and the commander, but after they locked you up, I heard Ensign Cruz say that.
Dalton, hey, calm down. It's okay.
Sorry.
You take a deep breath and close your eyes, sighing before you begin. Something about asking the cadet for his help seemed wrong. Although he was working on a JCF ship, he was basically still just a kid. But you knew that he had the technical skills that you needed. Okay. I'm here for your help, Dalton. If I can't get control of the ship back from Lieutenant Lord, then both the captain and Commander Quinn are going to get executed as traitors. I can't do it alone. I need that help. The help of someone who knows all the systems on the ship, and that's you.
You want my help?
That's right. You know your way around the ship almost as well as the chief. You could really help me out here, Cadet.
Hi.
As you talk, Dalton begins to fidget with his gloves, glancing around nervously as he does.
I've just got to do something over there quickly.
Once again, you reach out to grab him, but this time Dalton manages to evade you. His feet firmly plant on the Juno, and he propels himself toward the opposite side of the hangar, disappearing behind some of the remaining storage crates. Damn it, Dalton! What are you doing? You launch yourself from the armored frame towards the far side of the hangar. Stopping yourself on the first storage crate you arrive at, you quickly glance over the mess of containers but aren't able to spot the young engineer. Quickly but quietly, you begin moving from crate to crate, looking out for any sign of the cadet amongst the disorganization. As you pass by an inconspicuous cluster of containers, you hear the rustle of a jumpsuit and the sharp intake of breath. You pause and turn your attention to some crates opposite to where you'd heard the noise come from, giving them a few seconds of fake investigation before launching yourself towards the nook that Dalton had hidden himself in. This poor bean.
Ah!
Dalton, please, calm down. I just want to talk to you, okay?
Yeah.
Dalton.
Okay. I promise that's not Dalton anymore.
Promise, Cadet, I wouldn't be here if I didn't really need your help. But right now, with Lieutenant Lord in charge of the ship, we're all in a huge amount of danger. It's not just the commander and captain, it's all of us. We don't know what's going on with this... You gesture at the strange craft thing. We don't even know if it's actually deactivated. We could still be in danger. I just appeal to his greater paranoia. It's mean, but it's probably gonna be effective. How are we going to deal with it if half our crew is locked up and the other half is on guard duty? All I need is a little bit of your help. If I can prove Commander Quinn innocent, then that's one major blow to Lord's justification for this mutiny. After that, we can prove the captain innocent too. From there, no one on board will side with Lord. They'll know it'll be them up for execution as traitors. But I can't do this alone. That's why I need you. I know the chief's taught you a lot already. With your help, I can get this done before we get anywhere near Europa.
Oh, well, thank you, but
Dalton. You lay your hand on his shoulder. Please.
Well, why do you want me, Lieutenant? I mean, are you sure? I'm just a cadet. I don't really know that much of anything.
Am I gonna have to choose one person? Because I feel like that's what it set me up with Chief, was like, you have one more shot. You need to be sure. I was hoping I could, like, rally the entire team. We'll see. I don't know if that's true or not.
Are you sure it's my help you want? Like, I just mean that maybe you should think about it is all. If that's okay.
Yeah, okay, same thing here. Ooh. Dalton. Okay, well, in that case, we're gonna look at all the options and then make a decision. Oh, I'm stressed. Okay. Start another save. Go here. Nice, relaxing, stressful decision-making video game. I was not prepared for this when I started streaming this game. It's really ramped up the odds here. In the best possible way, but I can feel my cortisol levels rising by the second. You slowly crawl through the cramped passage, away from the light being cast downward from the shaft containing the large fan. It doesn't take long for you to find yourself in complete darkness once again. As you work your way onwards, your hand stretched out in front of you, allowing you to tell where the direction of the crawlway changes. You eventually find yourself in what feels like a dead end. Run your hand to the right and left of the tunnel's terminus, but from what you can tell, there's no alternate route to take. Maybe you'd missed a turning earlier? As you start the awkward process of orienting yourself to head back where you'd come from, you reach up, feeling for the top of the crawlway to ensure that you don't bang your head. Instead of the smooth paneling you'd expected to place your hand on, you encounter what feels like a lever. Pull the lever. Alright then, let's see what this does. Crossing your fingers that you're not about to open a hatch into space. Can you imagine? You grip the lever and push it. With surprising ease, the lever moves, and with it you feel a mechanism slide from one position to another. The panel above you shifts slightly, revealing a thin crack of light. Okay, now, where are we? Oh hey! Pushing open the hatch above you and standing up, you look around to see that you've emerged into the airlock. You clamber out of the tunnel, lowering the hatch behind you, but not closing it entirely. The airlock, huh? You muse. Not exactly the most useful place to be, but it's better than being locked up. Okay, so I'm just gonna make a note. Airlock. Let's look at stuff. Now that I can make my way around the ship using the crawlways, I shouldn't need to do any more EVA. I really, really hope so anyway. Made it this far, it's worth a shot. Yeah, I figured. Okay, but what if I... Can I use my keycard? No? Okay. Not planning on going outside the ship anytime soon, and these won't offer much in the way of protection against firearms. It's not even worth trying the radios. Who knows who'd pick up? Might be VANESSA if I'm really unlucky. If I tried to get to the hangar by opening this up, I'm sure Hansen or Haru would be here before I could get it closed again. They'd probably see it as a good opportunity to get rid of me and blame it on a failed escape attempt. I don't think there's anything here. Okay, this will be the only way I'll be able to open the airlock. There's an appeal to depressuring the ship to drag Hansen and Haru out into space. No, it's only Vanessa I want to do that too. What? But I don't see a good way to do it that doesn't involve me joining them. My access restricted, can't even stargaze. Good for surviving space, but they won't do much against Hansen and Haru's guns. Well, I wish I'd known that there were crawlways linking the airlock to the hangar when the power went off. Would have been a lot simpler going through them to get to the hangar rather than going out into space. Although those passages are like a maze, trying to figure my way around in them whilst the whole ship was without power. I'd have got lost for sure. Probably wouldn't be found until the ship was reclaimed and its new crew started complaining about a bad smell. Oh god, that's morbid. Probably true, but morbid. Alright, I don't see anything I can do here, so let's go back for now. And check out this one. This one. And then we'll try the ceiling. Heading away from the illuminated section of the crawlways that you'd momentarily stopped at, you soon find yourself in complete darkness once again. You mutter in frustration as you awkwardly twist around another corner, the snaking tunnel and the lack of any way to meaningfully track how far you've traveled compounding your lack of awareness where you might be on the ship. Regardless, you continue to slowly shuffle your way forward, hoping that wherever you might end up would be somewhere that could in some way be helpful in your efforts to prove Cassandra's innocence and deal with Vanessa, Hansen, and Haru. As you round another corner, you notice that the smell from earlier is much stronger now, the scent beginning to sting your nose and the back of your throat with every breath you take. I've got to be nearby now. Let's see. Reaching upwards, you run your hand along the ceiling of the crawlway, and sure enough, it passes over what you recognize by touch to be a catch that secures a panel in place. Although it takes some amount of fumbling to unclip it in the dark, you eventually succeed, going on to repeat the process with all the others as you find them. Once the final catch is released, you position yourself near one of the panel's edges and raise it slightly, looking around to confirm your location. It is Captain. I thought the smell might be that. So, Captain's room. Captain's quarters. From your position, you're not able to see Captain Bartermuse. Mindful of doing your best not to alarm her and ensuring not to make any noise that might alert whoever is standing guard outside, you slowly slide the panel just far enough to allow you to climb out of the tunnel and into the room. Ugh! You quickly draw your hand back in disgust and flick it away from you, only realizing that you placed it in a puddle of liquid after the shock of the sensation subsides. Okay. Looking down at your hand, you take a tentative sniff. As you'd guessed, it's the same smell that you'd noticed in the crawlway. The burning sensation that fills your nostrils reminds you more of acetone than of a beverage, but it's the unmistakable aroma of the captain's whiskey of choice. Okay, it was the whiskey. I thought it might be. You shift position from where you just tried to climb out and move away from the slick of whiskey, rising up into the room once you're far enough away that you won't accidentally douse yourself in the spillage. As soon as both your feet are planted firmly on the floor, you raise yourself upright, bringing you face to face with the captain. Hi! Her arms crossed as she slumps at her desk, glaring at you. What's up? Lieutenant Farrow, what a surprise. The captain languidly takes the bottle. Oh no, she's drunk again. Bottle of whiskey, tilts it in the approximate direction of a small shot glass in front of her, and begins to pour with little regard for accuracy. Okay, so I'm not gonna side with the captain because she's gonna be hella drunk as like my priority person to pick if I have to do that. For as much of the drink that makes it into the glass, just as much is spilled. Whilst she raises the clumsily filled container to her lips, a rivulet of oily liquid on the desk snakes its way towards the edge, cooling for a moment before the surface tension breaks and it sluggishly drips onto the floor. Resting the rim of the glass on her lower lip, the captain slowly pours the acrid liquid down her throat. A few stray droplets reach the corner of her mouth, which she catches with her forefinger before idly licking it as if, despite her earlier haphazardness, she's being careful to make sure nothing is wasted. You need to discuss something with the captain. You've come to the wrong place. You'll need to go to the bridge. I'm sure that Captain Lord will be more than happy to help. Actually, Captain, I was looking for you. You respond sharply, going to grab the bottle as the captain reaches for it again. Your tone only reveals a fraction of the frustration you feel at the captain for the fact that whilst you're risking your life to make contact with her, she's embraced being cloistered away as an opportunity to drown her sorrows. Oh, hi. Scary. The moment you lay your hand on the bottle, the captain snatches it by the neck, yanking it away from you. You manage to keep your grip and pull it away with a swift tug, sending some of its contents flying through the air and onto the floor, adding to the small puddle of fluid that has formed near the base of the desk. She's gonna get mad that we wasted some of her whiskey. Give it back right now! The captain barks, lunging at you across the desk. Shh! You hiss a shush at the captain, raising a finger to your lips with your free hand, and looking towards the door whilst also doing your best to keep the bottle out of her reach. You nod towards the entrance and move in closer to the captain. You want one of those two to come in here? Be quiet! They can't do anything more to me. Now give me back my... You clap your free hand over Maris's mouth just in time to stop her from shouting at you. The look you see in her eyes is the same familiar fury as when you'd first told her that you'd read the report. I get this look a lot these days. It doesn't bode well for me. It can throw us both out of the airlock. You snap back, keeping your hand over her mouth despite her protestations. Now could you please? Hey, what are you doing in there, Bartimeus? You lock eyes with the captain, who maintains her scowl. After a few seconds of silence, you move your hand away slowly. Hey, am I gonna need to come in there? On signed cruise, you will stay out of my quarters and... Yeah, alright, okay, I don't care, just keep it down. I don't need to hear your complaining. Da-da-da. What do you want, Lieutenant? The captain quietly mutters, tracing her finger through the whiskey that remains on the surface of her desk, bringing it to her lips and then placing it on her tongue. I want... You pause, wondering how good of an idea this is. Your help, Captain. With... You exhale in frustration as the captain resumes trying to slowly recover the whiskey that had been spilt on the desk. Captain, right now there's 3 of us facing treason charges. Lord has taken control of the ship and that thing is still stuck in our hangar. If we don't do something, you, me, and Commander Quinn are going to end up getting spaced. And that's if Vanessa doesn't get everyone on board killed before we get back. You're the captain. You've got to know some way to deal with this situation. There's got to be something we can do. You think we can save the ship, With your help, Captain. That's very noble of you. I wish you the best of luck with it. Oh my god, can you be useful for once in your life? Picking up her shot glass again, the captain slowly rotates it, causing the last remnants of fluid to gather in one droplet at the bottom before tilting it back into her mouth. Captain! You snap. You can't be serious. We could all be about to die and you're sitting here drinking. I need your help. You think you need my help? I think you should find someone else. Captain! Well, okay, that went about as expected. Let's, Is there anything in her room that would be useful here? This bottle's almost empty, but there's still a few shots left in it. Looks like the captain spilled most of it on the desk. Oh, lady. Blah blah blah. At least the captain isn't currently blackout drunk on her bed right now, although it's kind of hard to tell exactly how drunk she actually is. That's what I'm worried about. Wonder how many more bottles of Europa's special blend she's got stashed away in those locked drawers. Okay. Can think of better things to be doing right now than looking for an excuse to use the captain's bathroom. Fair enough. Let's go to the crawlways. I have the option to go into the quarters, so Hansen is at captain's. Let me just make some notes here. Hansen. Haru is at the hangar. If I could go to engineering and get to... Was engineering near the armory? It was, right? If I could go out the main door, get to the armory without getting caught, maybe I could get an electric gun or whatever that was. I I haven't looked up yet, so let me do that before I do anything else. Okay, I can save over that. And then the airlock. I need to look at my map. You crawl underneath the light that's cast down from above you and take the opportunities to stand up and stretch, shaking off some of the stiffness that had been built up by traversing the ship on your hands and knees. Shielding your eyes again, you look up at the fan. If you had to guess, it was somewhere between 15 and 20 feet above you. As you look around the vertical shaft you're stood in, you realize that there aren't any ladder rungs or grips that would let you climb upwards. Even if there were, you don't see any control panel nearby that would let you stop the fan's blades. As useful as your pocket screwdriver was, there was no way you'd be able to climb all the way up and take the fan apart whilst it was in motion. So we need to stop the fan to go up. With a sigh, you kneel back down and evaluate your choices amongst the other crawlways. Okay. Let me look at my map. Out of order. Well, schnitzel. Okay, explore the crawlways and find an ally. Okay. So let me just try my engineering theory if I can get to the armory. I believe it's over there. I need to find evidence. The computer didn't let me interact with it, but it said I could go back there, so maybe I need to do that once I get an ally with me. I'm at this point looking at either Dalton or Chief. Of those two, I feel like Chief has more knowledge and muscle power. Dalton, bless his heart, I adore him. I would like to talk to Dylan if I can, because he's the one who got me out, but I don't know if I can get there yet. That would be, I think the hangar is closest. No, Haru's at the hangar. Unless, and presuming they're not, like, wandering around because they're on security patrol. I might not be able to leave any doors at all, I'm not sure, but I want to try. So let's go to engineering. Airlock. We'll start with engineering. Okay, let me drop the save here. Move. Thoroughfare. It's a long way from the four-side thoroughfare, but if they're paying attention, Hansen and Haru could still spot me if I headed that way. I'll stick through the crawlways for now. Okay, never mind that theory. Okay, so up is fan. Need to disable before I can access that, so I think I'm gonna go talk to Chief again. Let me just double check that I can't use the computer again. I couldn't use the computer in my room. Couldn't use the computer in the airlock. I was able to access this computer but didn't know what to do with it. Yeah, okay. Game said no. Trying to think if there's anything else I've missed to think of. I don't think so. Okay. Let's go to engines. Chief! I've returned. Please join me. In the time you'd taken stepping away to think this over, the chief had moved on to a different section of the engine room, and instead of working on a control panel was now intently staring at a selection of gauges and dials. Reaction's nominal, no issues here. Chief, I've thought it over. Lieutenant. So what's it gonna be? You certain? Yes, I can't do this without you. Yes, Chief, I am. I know what you said, but I can't risk it. I can't risk Vanessa getting away with this. I can't risk the crew. I'm gonna do it. Well, you got a lot of spunk, Lieutenant, I'll give you that. Everything's running fine here, so I guess it's you and me now. Yes! Okay. Me and Chief. Where to then, Pharaoh? You're buoyant with elation at the Chief's words. With her on your side, there is next to nothing on the ship that could stop you. First of all, we need to show that the captain and commander weren't intentionally absent when the blackout happened. We'll also need to prove Commander Quinn had nothing to do with killing the doctor. We'll also probably go to sickbay. Yeah, good idea. If we went there, we'd be able to. Yeah, that's right, Chief. But to get there, I'll need to head through the crawlways, of course. Can't have you strolling down the thoroughfare when you're supposed to be locked up, even if... Where she'd been hesitant before, the Chief had clearly already switched her focus on problem solving. Yes! From the ship's engines to your predicament. I trust you, Chief. Fortunately, it looked like that came with her predisposition for getting carried away and analyzing that problem from every perspective. Chief, the crawlways. Huh? Right then, the crawlways. All right, Lieutenant. So due to the ship's construction, the crawlway system doesn't extend to the engine blocks. It's because of how the Swift classed. Enthusiastically lecturing you, the Chief heads towards the entrance that leads into the engineering room, going into a detailed breakdown of the nature of the disconnect between the ship's hulls and its HFDD engines. You let out a sigh of acceptance and follow her. You didn't really want to become an expert on the idiosyncratic construction of the Swift class, but it was a small price to pay for saving the entire ship. Because of the fundamental framework is actually from intercluster small load transports during the war, they... It doesn't take long for you both to arrive at the spot in engineering where the Chief had first hoisted you out of the crawlway you'd arrived in. What that means is that With minimal effort, the Chief pulls up the grating and tosses it to you, almost knocking you back over a guardrail. Swift class could theoretically be the easiest class in the fleet to upgrade if there's any further advancements. You hurry to enter the crawlway and replace the grating above you as the Chief disappears into the darkness, continuing to rattle off more about the ship's engines that you could ever hope to remember. With a great secure, you quickly shuffle towards the ongoing spiel, the deluge of facts your guide in the darkness as you head back into the bowels of the ship. Making your way through the crawlways as quickly as you can, you still find it difficult to keep up with the Chief who moves through the cramped confines of the tunnels with surprising swiftness. There are multiple times where you have to get her attention so that she'll slow down and not leave you stranded in the pitch-dark network of passages. Despite your constant reminders, as soon as you reach her, the Chief will often race ahead, leaving you desperately shuffling to keep up. Chief, wait for me! You were finding it hard to move at speed due to the limited room the crawlways offered, which made the Chief's pace all the more impressive considering her height and build. Okay. Eventually, you reach a familiar, illuminated area. Sweat dripping down your brow, you call out, "Chief, stop!" "What's that, Lieutenant?" "You've got a few hundred meters of crawlway to get through if you want to reach the sick bay." "No time for slacking." You hold your hand up as you do your best to catch your breath. "Okay, yes, Chief, I want to reach the sick bay." As your breathing slows and you feel more capable of talking, you lower your palm, allowing you to pivot from your hands and knees to a sitting position. You lean back against the wall behind you, relishing the cool chill of the steel. "But we need to go over the plan before we get there. If we just show up in the central hub and the ensign sees us, it'll all be over." You're right that there aren't any crawlways leading directly to the block that the sickbay's built into, so we would need to use the elevators. Means that in terms of access... The Chief's eyes dart back and forth as she begins to go over different variables in her mind, and after a moment she shifts from the crawling position that she'd been in to sitting cross-legged on the floor. Let out a deep sigh of relief as her attention is completely taken by the logistics of accessing the sickbay without being seen. As she continues to mutter to herself, you undo the top button on your uniform shirt and flap the fabric near your collar back and forth to cool yourself. Now that you weren't trying to keep pace with the Chief's unnaturally fast movements through the crawlways, you finally had time to think, and you too turn your thoughts towards the next step in your plan. It's going to be difficult to figure out, but now is the time to do it before you headed anywhere else. Okay, let's drop a save. I'm gonna take a quick refresh break, folks, so give me a couple minutes. We'll be right back. Hello, I've returned. Thank you for the wait. Okay, now I have to figure out what I want to do. Okay. Welcome back, thank you. I'm really bummed we couldn't go grab a gun from Armory. I was really hoping. I would feel a lot more secure, even a stun gun, but that's okay. So I've got access card, screwdriver, chocolate bar. Let me just look at this again. Squinting, you're able to make out whatever's illuminating. Da-da-da-da-da. I wonder where that is. Since the chief's here, I guess I could always ask her. Oh, here we go. Okay. Let's talk. Chief. Spend some time kneading the muscles in your legs and the balls of your hands to work out the tension that had accumulated as you crawled through the tunnels. As you work your way from one leg to the other, you listen into the chief's mutterings as she considers different ways in which you'll be able to access the sickbay. You're relieved that she's putting so much thought into it, but from what you can tell, she's only thinking about how you'll get in, not what you'll do once you get there. After a few more minutes, with no indication that the chief will give up on this puzzle herself, you interrupt. Hey, Chief. But Lieutenant Farrow wouldn't be able to access that area, so that brings us back to... Oh, my throat's going. Chief, hey. Lieutenant, I'm trying to figure out how to get us into the sickbay. Give me a moment. Chief, I know we're going to need to get into the sickbay to prove Quinn and the captain innocent, but right now we need to figure out what we'll do when we get in there. Right now, any part of the ship that isn't these crawlways or my quarters is risky for me to be in, so I don't want to spend any longer outside of them than I have to. I'd rather we discuss the plan now than leave it until we get there. That makes sense. So what were you thinking, Lieutenant? What evidence are you after in the sickbay? Well, do you remember how Lord justified her mutiny on the bridge earlier? That rat. She was saying that Quinn and Bartermuse were both out of action on purpose when the ship had that blackout. I don't see how it would benefit two traitors to be stuck on a dead ship, but she must have some way to twist the facts. Excuse me. Oh, this is a hard voice for me to maintain. Exactly. To deal with that accusation, we need to... Well, I kind of think someone still might have drugged her whiskey, and Cassie was definitely not. How do I get my... There we go. Out of action on purpose when the ship had the blackout. I think I'll go with prove they were actually unwell. I mean, presumably there would have been medical records for Cassie when the doctor was seeing her. Show that the two of them were actually sick when the blackout happened. If we can show they weren't faking it, then that would blow a huge hole in Lord's justification. If we can do that, then the rest of the crew will see that they're in danger just by siding with her. Even Hansen and Haru won't risk it. If we can convince them and with no one to back her up, Lord's mutiny will be finished. I see what you're saying, Lieutenant, but how are you going to do that? Well, I was thinking that... I could vouch for them. No, there would be records, exactly. There'd be medical records, right? As soon as the power was back on, I took the commander straight to the sickbay and told the doctor about the captain's condition. I feel like Vanessa would have done something about that, but... He's always making notes on that tablet of his. Even when he was treating me after the crash, he was lodging his diagnoses and medication used onto it. He'd have definitely done the same for Captain Bartermuse and Lieutenant Commander Quinn. Hey, good thinking, Lieutenant. The chief medical record software is like what I use to log repairs, and it's pretty watertight. Time, date, essential information. It'll all be there. Heck yes! Exactly! Right, so we're going to need to get our hands on that. Easy! You shift from your sitting position back to your hands and knees to begin crawling your way through the tunnels to your next destination. Wait, the thing. But the chief remains sat where she is. Come on, Chief, we need to get to sickbay. You're forgetting something important, Lieutenant. What do you mean? The doctor's murder. With gritted teeth, you shift back to your sitting position. In the excitement of thinking you had the solution to this whole problem, you've completely forgotten that Lord had directly accused Cassie of the doctor's murder. Even if you could prove she had been unconscious at the time of the blackout, no one on the ship would take the side of a murder suspect. Do you know where they put the doctor's body, Chief? I was knocked out when that was being dealt with. Did they leave it in sickbay? Of course, the surgery wing has a storage unit for them. Why? And nothing's changed. The proof we need that the captain and the commander weren't absent on purpose is going to be in the sickbay, and the doctor's body is too. We're going to prove that Commander Quinn didn't kill him. That's probably the best place to start, right? Can't argue with that, Lieutenant. Right, sounds like you got it all figured out. Ready to get moving? Not yet. No, wait, no. Ready when you are. That's what I like to hear. I want to look at the thing. Just make sure you keep up this time. Yes, Chief. Okay, wait, I'm gonna drop a new save here. Let me just check and make sure that nothing crucial was happening there if I missed it. Suddenly you're working out crime, true crime in space. Again, I was not expecting, like, murder mystery, overthrow a mutiny. My goodness. Okay. So, if I use this, you stand up and begin inspecting the shaft. Okay, something caught your eye there, Lieutenant? Oh, Chief, I was just trying to figure out if this shaft might lead anywhere useful. But I don't remember ever seeing a room with a fan set into the floor before. Some sort of secret room, huh? I mean, don't they teach you anything about internal ship construction at the Academy these days? Before you can tell the Chief that it's only the mechanical engineers that get taught those kind of things, she grabs you around the shoulders and directs your attention back up to the spinning fan. That up there is part of the ventilation system that crosses over with the crawlways. It leads into the air duct, which... Wait, I thought we were in the air ducts. Thought we were in the air ducts. She's so offended.
My memory does not contain this information. No. Sorry, Chief.
You think air ducts would be this big, Lieutenant? You've been watching too many movies. These are maintenance crawlways. Air ducts, I swear. As I was saying, that's part of the ventilation system, not a secret room or anything. Wait, so... You'd already disappointed the Chief with your lack of knowledge when it came to the difference between an air duct and a crawlway. So you figure you may as well ask the obvious question now. Why is it illuminated like that when the rest of the crawlways aren't? Are they teaching cadets nothing these days? When this is done, I'm getting this crew together and giving them a primer on. Chief, why is it lit up? That's simple, Lieutenant. This is the mechanics nook. Oh. When they're designing the ships, and there are areas where maintenance crawlways intersect, they make spaces like this for the engineers to take breaks in if they're spending their whole day doing work in these tunnels. Or if we need a lot of different tools, we can bring them in with us, dump what we don't need immediately, and come back for it later. It's a convenient spot for the ship designers built in for us. Oh, right, I get it. That explains the light, I guess. Good, now that you've learned that. Chief, no. Now you need to learn the difference between the ventilation system and the maintenance crawlways. Chief, please. Okay, so that didn't lead anywhere that we could... I mean, I assume we can't go up. Let me just try again. Thanks to the Chief, I'm pretty well versed on the difference between the ventilation system and these maintenance crawlways. I don't want to give her an excuse to teach me about fan blade mountings or something, so I'll leave it alone for now. Okay. Just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything crucial there, so we're gonna go load our other save. Yep. Okay, now we head to sickbay. You marvel at the speed and agility that the Chief demonstrates in such a confined space as she springs forward from her sitting position and disappears down a dark crawlway. You, on the other hand, curse how awkward it is as you rearrange yourself back into crawling position and head after her. Ooh, hiccup. Although she only has a few seconds lead on you, it only takes that long for her to disappear from sight, leaving you scrambling to catch up, following her exclusively by the sound of her boots and jumpsuit scuffling across the tunnel floor. Fortunately, you're just about able to keep pace, and panting and covered in a fresh film of sweat, you catch up with her just as she opens a hatch in the tunnel ceiling. The Chief bolts out of this new exit, but you're a bit more careful, listening out for any other voices before approaching the hole slowly and peeking out in case there's anyone else in the airlock. After confirming the coast is clear, you climb out and shut the hatch behind you. Hey, we'll see you later. Welcome on in. How's it going? Not bad, Lieutenant. You kept a pretty good pace there. Maybe we'll get you up to maintenance team standards yet. Chief praised me. This is the best day of my life. You smile and nod at the Chief. You'd like to respond, but you're breathing too heavily due to the exertion of keeping up with her, and the cool air of the airlock catches in your throat. Me when I descend a flight of stairs. Instead, you wipe the sweat from your forehead with the cuff of your shirt sleeve and lean against the main airlock hatch, trying to slow your breathing. So when it comes to the crawlways that you can access, the closest that's the closest that the network we've been inside will take you to the sickbay is here, in the airlock. Okay, so I did need to go out through one of the doors. I see. Trying hard to take things easy, it's tough when I like intense things. I see. Well, we're revolting against a mutiny, so that's kind of intense. There's others that could take us right there, but none of the access points are places that you could get to without being seen by some other crew members, so... Again, you simply smile and nod, taking the opportunity to compose yourself as the Chief fills you in on all the different paths that the crawlways run through the ship. This is not the time. Eventually, you're ready to move on, but the Chief is deep in another lecture, growing increasingly absorbed by her own subject matter. I'm kind of wondering now if Dalton would have been more like... Panicked, yes, but maybe to the point, anxiously get this done? It's in text, it's not difficult like Dark Souls. I am too cowardly to try Dark Souls, so I cannot comment on that. Exhaling deeply, you stand fully upright. If you want to get moving, you'll need to snap the Chief out of it. Let me just see if I can use this now. You reach out to type your user ID into the terminal, but the Chief grabs your wrist before you can enter a single character. That did it. Hey, what do you think you're doing, Lieutenant? Oh, Chief, I was just gonna see if I had terminal access. Lord's restricted my logins, but I was thinking that maybe she'd only accounted for certain terminals or functions, so... You know that every login attempt gets recorded, right? Okay, that was dumb of me. Wait, they do? Your mind jumps back to the last time you'd been here, and you'd nonchalantly tried to access the terminal. Whoops. Does this mean Vanessa would be onto you? Did she know you were outside your quarters? Were you being set up? I'm stressed. Chief, where does the log go? Is it a live feed on the bridge? If I've... As far as I know, it's a report that needs to be manually run. Nothing that the bridge crew would see unless they were looking for it. I'd be surprised if Lord knew about it, though. She was never good with the systems. Had to show her a bunch of functions they never taught at the academy. Of course, you could figure that kind of stuff out, but Lord never spent the time to. You breathe a deep sigh of relief as the Chief proceeds to trail off whilst talking about Vanessa's lack of professional curiosity or high-level computer skills. You'd been lucky this time, but it wasn't something you'd have to keep. It was something you'd have to keep in mind. Yep, that totally makes sense. Hey, Chief. Now that you are ready to move on, you do your best to nudge the Chief out of her latest mental distraction. Oh, and thank you for the follow. The thing about that approach is that it doesn't consider... Chief! What is it, Lieutenant? I was just considering. Sorry to push you, Chief, but we really need to get going to the sickbay now. We've only got a few days until we're back at Europa. The sooner we deal with this, the better. Right. Okay then, Lieutenant. How are we gonna get past the on-signs? The on-signs? Think about that for a few seconds, Pharaoh. Where are the on-signs? They're outside my quarters. Well, my quarters, the captain's, and the commander's, I guess. Excuse me. I guess. Haru was outside of the hangar. Unless they've moved. You reckon they'd be standing in two separate quarters when they could get the same job done by hanging out together in the Foreside Thoroughfare? It doesn't take long for you to realize that the Chief is correct. By standing in the Foreside Thoroughfare, they could keep an eye on both crew quarters as well as the central hub. Right, of course. But if they're there and we can't get any closer to sickbay using the crawlways, how are we supposed to get there? Come on, haven't you thought about that yet? You look away sheepishly. The Chief was right that you hadn't even considered that the on-signs might be an obstacle. I did. I don't know about you, Ren Pharaoh. I certainly did. But you quickly run through some ideas in your head. I guess we're going to need... Take him out. No, distraction. Let me just save over this one. Distraction. You need to figure out some way to get them away from the thoroughfare, ideally for a while. That's good thinking, Lieutenant. It's gotta be easier to get them out of the way than it is for us to try and sneak past them or take them out. Okay. I can't really think of anything we can do from here. On a date? That just makes me think of the meme. Don't worry about that, Lieutenant. I've got just the thing. You stay here and watch for the right moment. You'll know when you see it. Okay, the last time I was told to wait for the right moment was in Killer Frequency. And I totally misread the signal and got someone killed, so, you know, I'm a little hesitant about that, but I trust you, Chief. I trust you with my life. Okay, but without pausing to listen to your concerns, the Chief turns away from you and strides down the hallway towards the central hub. Unlike you, she still has the freedom of the entire ship as long as no one realizes that you're both working together. You watch as she walks nonchalantly into the hub and then turns right towards the aft thoroughfare. If the ensigns notice her, there's no indication that they care as she casually walks away. Take a deep breath and crouch down by the corner of the airlock's exit. You don't want to miss the Chief's signal, whatever it may be. Before you can even start to wonder what the Chief will do, your question is answered. What is she... From your position, you see the Chief storm back into the central hub and yell at the two ensigns, gesturing towards the engineering department. Ensigns, I need you in engineering right now. You can't make out the response, but the Chief's reply is loud and clear. If you don't get moving, there'll be no one left to guard. Now get down there. It doesn't take much to convince the ensigns. You see them sprint past the Chief and towards the engineering department. Once they're out of sight, the Chief looks to you and shoots you a quick wink before turning to follow them. You're the heckin' best. I love Chief. Get straight to the engines. Crews, those cords need to be realigned now. Once the Chief is out of sight, you dart down the corridor towards the central hub. Check both thoroughfares and not seeing anyone, run over to the elevators. Come on. You repeatedly tap the button, thankful that due to its emergency nature, the sickbay doesn't need you to swipe your keycard to access it, instead relying on simply using a bioscanner to log whoever enters. Let's go already, let's go! As the door begins to open, you immediately slip through the gap, hitting the door close button as soon as you're inside. Oh, the adrenaline. With a sigh of relief, you lean back against the cool metal wall and feel yourself begin to move downwards. You knew that there was no way the Chief would have purposely created a real problem in the engineering department, so whatever she had lined up for the ensigns was probably pointless busy work. Still, it had done the trick, and as long as it kept them occupied, it didn't matter what she'd done. As the elevator's rate of descent begins to slow, you step forward and shield your eyes before the doors open and expose you to the harsh glare of the sickbay lights. Now that you'd finally got here, you could begin. You emerge slowly and silently into the sickbay, scanning the room as soon as your eyes have adjusted to the light. At first glance, you don't see any sign of the attacker who'd knocked you out the last time you were here, but you're careful to check behind the doctor's desk as well as other blind spots within the room. Once you're confident there's no one else in here with you, your shoulders drop and you release the tension that you'd been carrying. Without any obvious threat, you take your time going over the room. Whew, everything was as you'd remember it being. No one had even gone to the effort of cleaning up the shattered glass that covered the floor in front of the medicine cabinets. Take a small amount of solace in that fact. You were lucky. It meant that everything else in the room had been left alone too, including any evidence that might absolve Cassie or the captain. Okay, where to begin? Okay, another save. Let's see. Trying to figure out how much time is left. I'm gonna do some more, but I can probably go to 2.5 hours before I need to stop for the day. We'll see how far we get. Let's look around. Let's see. Much like the O'Brien, the glass fronts of the cabinets that stored the various medicines and treatments had all been smashed with fragments covering the floor. Do your best to avoid disturbing anything, but still manage to crunch a few pieces underfoot as you look at the broken edges of the glass that remains in the cabinet doors. No blood, no fabric, nothing caught on these shards. You step back to get a better look and hear something crinkle as you step on it. Turning back to see what it was, you kneel down to pick it up. Nutri-Shake mix, You turn the packet in your hands and notice that it's completely empty. We've seen this before. Just like what happened on the O'Brien. I know it wasn't Cassie who killed the doctor, and since this is the same thing that happened on the O'Brien, does that mean it's the same killer? Could it be whoever's piloting that machine? I wondered about that, yeah. I was musing about that pilot, but we've not seen any sign that anyone's been able to leave it. And why would they kill 2 doctors just over nutritional shakes? It doesn't make any sense. I feel like we should go back to the hangar and look at that at some point. I should have done that when I was in there. Heading over to the emergency beds, you do a quick visual review that doesn't reveal anything unusual. Despite this, you take some extra time to go over them, peering into all the little nooks and crannies where the padded top joins the frame. Pay careful attention looking for any unusual markings or damage, or signs that someone else may have been around them aside from Cassie and the doctor. After a few minutes of searching, you fail to find anything that could prove that someone else was here when the doctor was murdered. Yeah, lots of Star Trek references in this game. In fact, aside from a few of Cassie's hairs on the pillow of the bed she'd been resting on, there was no sign that anyone had used these beds at all. The doctor's desk. If there are any documents that will come in useful, they'll be in there. Okay, I'll have to use that. As you walk over to the entrance to the surgery wing, the first thing you notice is that the typically clear glass panel that lets you look inside still has the frosted effect that's reserved for patient modesty or any procedure requiring discretion. The rest of the crew accounted for and no one available to do any surgeries, you'd only assume that it was left in place because the doctor's body had been stored inside. Okay, we'll use everything. You pick up a few scattered boxes of medication and place them on the counter. You review each one in turn, finding them still completely sealed and with no obvious relationship between them. This one's for blood pressure, these are sleeping pills, some of these are antidepressants. The only factor in common is that it looks like they were all yanked out to get to what was behind them, which would be... You peer into the back of the cupboard where all you can see is an empty cardboard tray with the product name printed on it. Nutri-Shake Max Nutritional Alternative, 10 times 2 kilograms. If someone wanted shake mix, I'm sure they could have just asked. Okay. Hanson would have been here at some point. Let's look at the desk. The doctor's desk. It's probably my best bet of finding something useful. Moving around to the side where Dr. Rosarium typically sat, you're relieved to find that the drawers are unlocked. Take a thick pile of files out of the top one and begin flicking through them, looking for anything useful. There's gotta be something here. You think, but there's a huge number of documents within the stack of folders that you'd taken, more than you could easily skim through. After a few minutes, you place them down on the table and try the second drawer. This time a smile crosses your face as you pull out the doctor's datapad. Jackpot! Pulling a sticky note off the screen and placing it back in the drawer, you took the device out of the drawer you took the device out of, you inspect it, looking for the power button. You find a flick and a switch on the back of the datapad, watching the screen slowly illuminate as the device comes to life, sound of a drive within it beginning to spin letting you know it's still functional. Alright, I bet this will have all the information I need. The password, okay. Your elation is immediately wiped away as you're faced with a login prompt. I thought we were gonna have to like scan his dead finger or something.
Oh, come on.
You place the datapad onto the desk alongside the pile of files and sit down on the doctor's chair, placing your head in your hands. You had no expectation that this endeavor would be easy, but you've been hoping that at the very least it would have been simple. Unfortunately, that did not look like it would be the case. After taking a few moments to silently fume at the challenges that were being thrown your way, you realize there's nothing you can do but move forward. This can't be it. There's gotta be something I can do. With a long exhalation, you stand up, looking around the sickbay. You'd come this far. You weren't going to give up yet. Running your hands back through your hair, you pace from one side of the room to the other, far as you could tell, there was no obvious proof that Cassie had been the doctor's murderer, but you couldn't find any proof to the contrary either. At this rate, you wouldn't be able to find anything, and there was every chance that once you'd left sickbay, the ensigns would have returned to their positions outside the crew quarters. You risked it all for nothing? Before you can dwell on that thought, you hear the elevator whir into life, letting you know that within the next few seconds, someone would be entering the room. With no time to spare, you decide, oh god, is it going to be timed? It's going to be hide or prepare to attack. We're going to hide. Stressed, I'm stressed, I'm stressed. You look around the room in desperation for somewhere to conceal yourself so that you can either stay unnoticed by whoever enters, or get the drop on them if necessary. I feel like behind the desk is my best bet. With the surgery wing locked and the emergency beds nothing more than suspended platforms, you're left with one option. Just as the door slides open, you dive behind the desk, trying to tuck yourself into whatever little space there is underneath it. Remaining as quiet as you can, you listen to the sound of footsteps crossing the room towards your position. The footsteps coming from the elevator towards the desk fall heavily on the floor, each one causing a resounding thud. Please be Chief. Whoever's entered the room stops right by you, and you hear a slight creak from the desk as if a great weight has been placed on it. Oh, God, Chief, you scared me. Get out of there, Lieutenant. It's just me. The Chief appears in front of you, squatting down with one hand still resting on top of the desk. You could have announced that when you came in. She reaches out to you, and you take her hand, which yanks you out into your feet. No need to worry about Cruiser Rumney. I've got them realigning cores on a deactivated secondary drive coil. With all the false readings I fed into it, they'll be there all day. Yes! This is why I brought Chief. Told them I'd be working on the main coil in the other engine room, so they shouldn't figure I'm gone for a while. Unless they realize the readouts they're getting are on a loop, but with the 14 variations I plugged in. How's it going in here? Find what you needed yet? Not yet, no. You gesture over to the doctor's desk. I found Dr. Rosarium's datapad, but I can't log in. The surgery wing's locked up, and there's no obvious evidence that points to anyone else being here aside from Commander Quinn. Sounds like you've been having a tough time, huh? Yeah. You run your hands back through your hair and lean back against the cool glass that separates you from the surgery wing. Ugh. I'd hoped I could find something obvious, but there's nothing useful here, and we can't get to the doctor's body or into his notes. Hey, don't worry about it, Lieutenant. You've got me here. You think this ship does anything but what I tell her? No chance. I'll get it sorted. Where are we gonna start? Well... I guess... here? You look at the desk which you'd retrieved the doctor's datapad from and pinch the bridge of your nose. It was driving you nuts that such a potentially vital piece of evidence was locked behind a password. Something got you down, Lieutenant. I was thinking about the doctor's datapad. Could have everything we need on it, but without his password, there's nothing we can do. Sure you looked everywhere. Rosarium was good with medical equipment, but not good with computers. Was the sticky note? Betty's written his password down somewhere. Maybe there is something I missed. A vague memory returns to you, and you head over to the desk, opening the top drawer. Aside from a collection of plugs and cables, you'd already emptied it of everything that had seemed important. You slide it closed and move on to the one below it, opening it to find that, without the datapad inside, all it contained was the sticky note that you'd previously peeled off the screen. Like, that feels like the obvious place. Could it be that easy? You temper your expectations as you read what's been written. Device asks me to press any key to continue. Ask Cathay's location of any key not visible on keyboard. The doctor cannot be serious. What'd you find? Exasperated, you pass her the note, and as her eyes scan the writing on it, a broad smile fills her face. I remember when he asked me about this, laughed so much I scared the hell out of the cadet. Had to explain to the guy that the computer's instructions weren't as literal as he was treating them. Guess he just saw an instruction and followed it. Okay. Does that mean we can use the thing? There's nothing useful in the desk, and I don't think those files will be much help. Okay. Can't believe someone would be so literal about computer instructions like that. How's he managed all these years? Let's look at this. Okay, nothing new. Nothing new. You stand in front of the closed doorway to the surgery wing and tap on the frosted glass. You knew the glass used is the same kind as what's used in the window on the bridge and would be pretty much impenetrable to conventional weapons, let alone what you had at your disposal. Oh, there we have an option. You'd not been able to find the doctor's keycard, and without it, you wouldn't have much of a chance of getting in. Let me just, exhaust that dialogue. You dejectedly stuff your hands in your pockets and go to turn away. Okay, hang on. Hold it. Nah. With a smug sense of satisfaction, you swipe the card through the terminal next to the door and wait for it to open. Instead, you're met with a harsh series of digital tones. No! Figures. Your eyes linger on the terminal for a few more seconds as you think about everything you'd gone through in the past few days involving bypassing these devices, or the doors attached to them entirely. You didn't bring the PST, did you, Chief? No, but it wouldn't be much good to us. If you haven't found Rosarium's card, then we can't get that door open with anyone else's. Only he had the authority. Squeeze your eyes shut and pinch the bridge of your nose. I guess if they've left him in there, they must have taken his card on the way out. One of the ensigns probably has it. Or VANESSA. You sigh. No chance of us getting it then. I didn't say that, Lieutenant. Your eyebrows raise and you turn back towards the mechanic. But how can we get in without... I told you, Lieutenant, this ship does what I say. Nothing on board can get in my way. What, you think I don't know how to get around it? Or that's still, Chief? What, you think I don't know how to get around every single system or device here? No, Chief, nothing like that. I just thought... Damn straight. Now take a look at this. Chief moves you to one side and lays a gloved hand on either side of the terminal's casing. A swift yank is followed by the loud sound of snapping plastic, and the Chief pulls away the top of the device, including its screen, which is still connected to the inner workings by a long ribbon cable. Get over here, Lieutenant. We don't have all day. Ooh. Oh, so that's, Oh god, do I have to connect these somehow? It's a combination digital physical security unit. JUCF used to manufacture loads of these back in the day. Overproduced them though. Someone came up with a better system. There were huge amounts left over. Didn't make sense to waste them, so the JUCF's been using them in low security facilities or on ships where they're not expecting any problems. Oh, I see. So, can you do something to get the door open? That's gonna be your job, Lieutenant. Oh no! See, this thing works by redirecting power to the door whenever it scans the right clearance on a keycard. You can get the same thing to happen by rotating the nodes, though. Diverts the power to where you need it to be. Oh god, I'm terrible at these. Easy. Sure. Chief, shouldn't you? Wish I could, Pharaoh. The Chief takes off one of her thick gloves and holds her hand up to you. Aside from the calluses and worn leathery skin on her palm, you also notice that the whole hand is shaking. Oh. The tremors are small but constant. Oh. Damage to the nerves doing too much work with heavy machinery as a girl. I'm fine with military or industrial grade machinery because it's usually pretty chunky. Stuff like this, I don't have the dexterity for it. So whatever you're waiting for. What are you waiting for, Lieutenant? Get on it. Right, of course. Okay. Let's drop a save. Okay, so can I only... How do I... Ah.
Don't do something stupid now.
Feel like I'm about to do something very stupid. I would find a way to shock myself. I know this in my soul. That won't work. As your friend, I can only empathetically agree. You know me well. I'm not afraid to acknowledge my flaws. But that... I feel like it needs to go there, but... Okay, so that has to go there. This goes up, so that has to be that one. This only goes down. That ends up going... Oh, I'm a fool. Don't worry about it. Okay, that can only go down. Up. Oh. No, I thought I was being smart. That'll cut it off and then that will redirect it. Oh no. So that or that. That has to do that. That goes down, so that's not it. But this one's straight, so that's not it. I am confusion. Can they overlap? Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. That might do something then. How did I get that up there before? That can only go two ways. I did find a way to do that. What was it? Oh, my brain is not competent enough for this today. Okay. That would have to go that way. That doesn't work. What if I move this? That... Oh no. Okay, hang on. Okay. That one has to be that. That one has to be that. This will either go that way or that way. That ends up a dead end. 1, 2, 3. Oh. Got that or that, which is both dead end. Oh, game, why? Okay. Okay, that's something. Hang on. No, I need you to go the other way. Oh, I'm a genius. Okay. You hear a click as the locking mechanism disengages and the door slides open. Ha! Yes! There you go, Lieutenant. Easy, right? Yeah, easy. Something like that. As you step back from the terminal, a waft of cold air from the now open doorway hits you and a chill runs down your spine. You pensively eye the entryway, taking a few steps to your right to get a better look inside. As you'd expected, you can see the doctor's body lying on an operating table. You shiver again, although this time, not from the cold air that was leaching into the climate-controlled warmth of the main sick bay. Everything all right, Lieutenant? Oh, it's just a dead body, you know. The chief appears beside you, her hand on your shoulder. Yeah, it's fine. I was just thinking about what we have to do next. I got you, Lieutenant. Never nice seeing one of the crew like this. Yeah. The temperature just outside the door is almost as cold as the room beyond, and as all the chill continues to spread, you rub your arms instinctively to warm them. You knew that you'd always planned to get in there to examine his body, but now that it was possible... We gotta do what we gotta do. It is what it is. It is what it is. You repeat. Whew. No. Come on, Lieutenant, let's get to it. hesitate for a moment before nodding, which the chief takes as a sign to enter. As she walks into the room, the chief becomes a vague silhouette, barely visible behind the frosted glass. With her out of view, you clench your fists a few times, then follow her into the room. You'd never been in here before, although you'd taken a few opportunities to peek inside when the glass wasn't frosted on the few times you'd visited the sickbay. They weren't particularly reassuring to look at from the other side of the glass, but your proximity to the automated surgical assistants made them much more intimidating. A series of long, thin mechanical appendages were suspended from a collection of disc-like objects, which themselves were attached to the room's ceiling by various supports, cables, and tubing. The room's temperature was so low you could see your own breath, which turned to condensation on certain parts of the machines, glinting with hot light as you moved around them. Directly underneath all of this was the body of Dr. Cypher Rosarium. You shudder as you approach the corpse. Although you'd encountered the bodies of the crew on the O'Brien, those weren't people that you'd interacted with, spoken with, people you'd known. Laying here on the table, the lack of vital essence in the doctor was tangible. As sedate as he'd been when he was alive, seeing him like this made your stomach turn. Chief was feeling the same way. If the chief was feeling the same way, she wasn't showing it. All right then, Lieutenant, what are you looking for? Well, I guess I should. I'm hoping I can do all of these. Let's save now that we've got the puzzle done. Check for injuries to see how he was killed. If we can figure out how he died, that might give us an indication of who the killer was. Or at the least, it can show us that Cassie couldn't have done it. Sure, you're the security officer. I guess that makes you something like a detective, huh? The edges of your mouth involuntarily curl upward slightly as the chief questions remind you of how Cassie had reacted to your position when you'd first met. She'd been so excited about her misconception that you were on ships to solve crimes that you didn't have the heart to tell her otherwise, until her fourth electronic mail asking you if you'd had any murder cases yet. Still, neither the chief nor Cassie were entirely incorrect. The head security officer was responsible for gathering information and evidence prior to a case being handed over to internal investigations, or the military police if something happened whilst out in space. Kind of, I guess. You had been given training in assessing a body, but only for particularly surface-level things. Hopefully that'd be enough. Okay, let's see. Starting from his feet and working upwards, you gingerly assess for any signs of broken bones, swelling, dislocation, or wounds, finding nothing. As you move up his body, you still don't find anything except that his cybernetics extended further than you were aware of, with a good portion of his left leg and chest proving to be mechanical. Your assessment continuing to be fruitless, you eventually move to the doctor's head. Sweeping back his hair to check for bumps or bruises, you notice something strange around his eyepiece. Chief, look at this! What is it? It's subtle, but look. You gesture to the edges of the doctor's prosthetic where the device meets the doctor's skin. Signs of singeing and minor burns run along the edges, with the lens of the eye, quote-unquote, surrounded by a ring of black. Strange. Looks like the device is overloaded. But the power cells used in his prosthetics shouldn't produce enough current to shock him even in the situation where... So you think the doctor may have been shocked then? Huh? Looks that way, but it shouldn't be possible. An electric shock. You briefly dwell on the possibilities. Just like on the O'Brien, What do you think could have caused this? Nothing in the other room. There's no obvious damage to anything that would expose any electronics with the power to do this. Can't see anything in here that could have delivered this level of shock. Defib paddles are still on their mounts. No damage to the automated assistants. Had to have been something someone brought in. There it is. Like an electroshock weapon. I was carrying one of those at the time, wasn't I? That's not helping my case. Whoa, Chief. You don't think I did this, do you? I don't know, Lieutenant, did you? No, I came in, found the doctor dead, and got attacked just before I could check on Cassie. Why would I kill the doctor? Dot, dot, dot. The chief's hard glare drops the temperature of the room by a few more degrees as she watches you from the other side of the operating table that the doctor has been laid down on. You'd have to be pretty stupid to murder someone, then break out and drag another member of the crew to show them evidence which showed you did it, huh? Phew! You breathe a sigh of relief which turns to a small cloud of vapor in front of you. Yeah, you would. I guess we have our answer there. Even if it raises more questions. Now that we figured this out, take a look at his prosthetics. You think there's anything we can learn from his prosthetics? Would they keep any information about his condition or anything like that? Rosarium's augments are pretty old, but... The chief reaches into one of the pockets of her overalls and pulls out a small screwdriver, much smaller than the one Dylan had snuck into your meal. Methodically, she begins to assess the doctor's right arm, following the edges of various panels. Eventually, she raises the arm, which yields easily, finding a series of screws on the underside of his mechanical forearm. Each screw is quickly removed and placed neatly into a nearby surgical basin, followed by a panel that the chief lifts away. Although the chief is simply disassembling a piece of machinery, you can't help but feel a bit uneasy as you watch her work, given the situation you're in. With the air of a surgeon about her, she continues to methodologically disassemble the interior of the doctor's arm, until she places the screwdriver down and pulls out a small circuit board which remains connected by a series of wires. This. She holds the board up and turns it to face you, showing that it has a small screen and a series of buttons on the other side. Should give us a log of the doctor's vitals. Looks like the whole unit's been deactivated. Hold it for a second. As it's passed over to you, you can't help but notice the trail of wires and cables heading back into the forearm towards the doctor's elbow joint and wrist like a series of veins and arteries. I would probably pass out if this were me. You swallow nervously, looking away as the chief continues to dissect the interior of the mechanical arm. Unnerved by the procedure being carried out next to you, but still having to hold on to this component, you close your eyes and steady your breathing. There. There's a click as she lays a burned-out battery in the surgical basin. You see that a series of wires coming from the doctor's arm are now connected to a fresh-looking battery that sits just to his side. So, Lieutenant, what does it say? You look at the screen on the device. All you see are 4 flashing numbers separated by a colon. 2129. That would be our password, I assume. I'm gonna write that down. What is it? A diagnostic code? There is a colon in there too. Ha! No, it's the time. Oh. But it's not. You go to look at your wristwatch. The time the power on his prosthetic failed, Lieutenant. Ah, okay. I'm gonna make a note of that. Prosthetic failure time. Okay, so that places... We have like a specific time this happened, which hopefully can get me out of it, because I would have showed up later. Right, okay. 2129. If that's when the power on his prosthetics failed, do you think that's when he died? Yeah, probably. These things run on power cells, but it looks like whatever got him took them out too. Ha ha ha. I came to visit Commander Quinn just after 2130, so whoever killed the doctor must have got to him just before I arrived. The only other... Well, Cassie was out, and Cruz was the only other one in here. Presumably. Now we know when he died. Maybe we can cross-reference it against the ship's logs. See who was where and when, something like that. Okay, so now if we go to the computers... If she can use the one in engineering, or... I don't know. All the other computers didn't really react, but I specifically got a notice when I used the one in engineering. Okay. Plug that thought away for later. Not a bad idea, Lieutenant. Thanks, Chief. Alright, let's... Hold on. The Chief takes the small circuit board off you and returns it to the interior of the doctor's arm, carefully replacing the wiring before reattaching the panel with the screws she'd removed earlier. Didn't want to leave him in pieces, you know? Doesn't seem right. Yeah, of course. Okay, let's...
Look for clues to his killer's identity.
There's nothing useful out in the main sickbay. I couldn't find any trace of anyone else being here but Commander Quinn. If we're lucky, there might be some evidence of on the doctor that we can use. Although your training in handling what could be considered a crime scene or evidence was brief, you hoped that the small amount you've been taught might come in useful. You don't notice any obvious signs of bruising on the doctor to indicate he'd been grabbed. There's no signs of any use of a weapon either. That's right, because prosthetics are person's body parts. This is correct. We must treat them with respect. After looking at the fingernails on his left arm and not seeing any signs of skin or blood, you're about to give up when you check his mechanical hand. Chief, look at this. What is it? You raise the doctor's mechanical arm, twisting it slightly so that she can see the back of his hand. Oh, hiccup, excuse me. As soon as she notices what you're pointing out, she takes the arm off you. Knuckle joints and top of fingers both crumpled. Augment's military grade. He must have hit something hard for this to happen. What have you found, Chief? Take a look. Gently, the Chief extracts something from the joint between the index finger and the knuckle, then passes it to you. Carefully take the small fragment off her and hold it between your thumb and forefinger, bringing it up to your eye. It looks like a small metal chip. Maybe a piece of whatever he hit? You pass it back. Maybe, but there's nothing on the ship made using something like this. The Chief pauses, her brow furrowing deeper into its scowl. Except that thing in the hangar. I don't like that. I don't like that. What? You think this is something to do with that? The Chief walks over to the nearby hand-washing station and takes a few sheets from a roll of disposable towels, wrapping the small fragment up before placing it into her pocket. Can't say for sure, but it looks like it. Okay, so I'm just making a note of evidence. Piece of the capital thing, capital. Okay. Why the doctor, though? No idea. You pause as you consider this new piece of information. It had given you a fresh perspective to consider, but if anything, it had just created more questions. Well, that's all I can see that looks useful. Now we found that, we should leave the doctor in peace. He's not got anything left to tell us. Yeah, I'm with you there. You follow the Chief out of the room, stopping by the terminal to reset the components and replace the screen. As you click the screen back onto its mounting, the door hisses shut, stemming the flow of cold air from the surgery wing into the sick bay. Just before it closes, you catch one final glimpse of the doctor. All you can think about as he disappears from your view is that if you had got here a few minutes earlier, maybe you could have done something. Whew, okay. Save. So we still need to get into the data pad. That's not what I meant to do. That's also not what I meant to do. Unlock the doctor's data pad. Chief, can you help me unlock this? What a way to go, huh? You mean the doctor? Yeah, classic signs of electrocution. The singeing, his prosthetics all being shorted out. Looks like he got hit with something pretty powerful. Seems like he hit something that was pretty powerful too, the way his hand was all caved in and all. Even if someone did get hit with an electroshock weapon, looks like he got a good swing in on whoever it was. A punch like that could take a jaw clean off. I wonder if... As the Chief begins to go over potential scenarios to explain what happened to the doctor, you think about what you'd found. If it had just been the injuries associated with the electrocution, you'd be able to assume that it was one of the ensigns with an electroshock weapon. But given the condition his fist was in, as well as the small fragment of black metal that the Chief said matched what was in the hangar, if what you were beginning to suspect was true, you had something much more dangerous than VANESSA on board. I'm scared. Okay. Let's just look at this again. Just look like a bunch of admin work. Okay. There's no trace of any blood being spilled when whoever it was smashed this glass. And aside from the NutriShake mix, there's no sign that anything else was taken either. Not that I'm familiar with the medicine that's kept on board. Still nothing obvious here. Okay. Didn't mean to do that. Got what we needed from there, we shouldn't disturb the doctor anymore. We can guess that what killed the doctor had nothing to do with Cassie, but we'll need more than that. I'm sure Vanessa could find some way to spin it to blame her. Okay, use. Nothing there. Nothing there. I don't know what else to try. Okay, that's the same. What else? The only lead I have is to check against the computer logs, but I still need to get into the data pad. I wish he'd written his password down or left us a clue or something. No use wishing, Lieutenant. Keep your head in the here and now. If this problem's gonna get solved, it's gonna be by us. Yeah, you're right. You don't know anything about the doctor that'd help you guess his password? Well, I guess he's extremely matter-of-fact, to the point. Literal. I wonder. Alright, let's give this a try. Wow, I'm glad I tried this. Literal? I don't know. I guess that wasn't it. Huh? To the point, literal. How the hell am I supposed to guess that? Hang on, I want to look at my, How do I get out of here? I'm stuck here now. Okay, that's not great. Literal to the point. I wanted to look at my chat log to see if I missed a hint in there. Oh no, my brain. Password? I'm gonna feel so stupid if it's freaking password. Oh my god, you did not just do that. Oh, I should have known right off the bat. Dr. Rosarium, you cannot be serious. The any key thing made me think it can not be. Now that I tried it, I'm like, oh, it was right there, but oh, silly game. Silly doctor. So what was it, Lieutenant? Password, as in enter password. A huge smile erupts on the chief's face, and she laughs loudly, giving you such a hearty series of pats on the back that you almost launch the data pad across the room. Ha, good old Rosarium. Wiping a tear from the corner of her eye, the chief maintains her grin. We could always count on that guy to get straight to the point. Good work figuring it out, Lieutenant. See if you can find something useful on that device. Will do. Medic. This looks like it contains the medical records of everyone on board the Gundog. This could take a hot minute. Okay. Where'd it go? If I go any further, I'll be looking at some really sensitive material, but there could be something in here that helps me. I'll need to make sure I only look at what I need to. Oh, I want to snoop. Let me just make a little backup save here for no particular reason. So we want to look at Bartermuse and Cassie for sure. Is there anyone else? Let's see the doctor on here. Okay, we'll start with Bartermuse. Blood type. O positive. Recent update. Attended quarters following notification by crew member. Patient was discovered unresponsive due to alcohol-induced vasalgia. Level of consumption indicates undiagnosed alcoholism. Oh, Captain. Here we go, Chief. Yeah. He's found records for the captain. Says he found her unresponsive due to, because of what? Something called vasalgia? But it says she was unresponsive, so that should prove she wasn't absent on purpose. Yeah, poor Captain. That makes me sad. Works for us. Keep looking at what else is on that tablet. We need some information that proves Quinn's got nothing to do with this too. I really want to snoop through the others just in case. There's extra info, but it explicitly told me not to do that, and I'm worried there'll be consequences if I do. Yeah, of course. Oh, I can scroll down, thank you. Diagnosed with dysthymia. Has refused antidepressant medications and counseling. Oh my god, I'm so sad. Oh. Alcohol's probably her coping mechanism. Discretion to forego mandatory counseling provided by Admiral Bartomuse. Chronic hypertension. Sadness. Okay, now I'm depressed. I need to find the Quinn. Admiral, yes, we tried to talk to her about some things, and she wouldn't let us. Okay, O negative. Patient delivered to sickbay unconscious. Sudden onset migraines and loss of consciousness. Current scans remain inconclusive, indications of neurological condition. Will require escalation to the Colony Medical Center if scan set 3 provides no avenue for effective treatment. Diagnosed with gastric distress linked to synthetic ingredients in onboard food stores. Ongoing treatment, standard meals to be substituted for NutriShake powders. 50 grams serving, 3 times daily. Oof. That would suck. Okay, Chief didn't have anything to say about that. Okay. I can't seem to exit. Back. Oh, what did I just do? I can't seem to... Do I have to go through all of them? I can't seem to exit. Let me just actually save over this here in case I screw this up. How do I get out of here? Yeah, I was trying to get over to the X, but it's not letting me go over. Like, if I press right, it doesn't do anything. Trying every button combination I can to get over there. Oh god, don't skip. Yeah, I'm on Switch, so I'm not sure how I make it do that. If I go left and right, it doesn't do anything. I can just go up and down. Up and down. I can get to my map. Oh, I did something. No. Ah, what do I do? How do I do that? I didn't mean to go here. Okay, well, we're looking at Dalton's file now. Aw, generalized anxiety disorder, my sweet baby. SSRI, 50 milligrams daily, ongoing counseling. That's good, you're getting some treatment. Okay, I can get to this scroll bar. I didn't mean to go here though, my sweet babby. I'm really sorry. I can get to here. What the heck? Task takes me back to this. How did I get back there? Oh my god, how do I get out of this? I'm pressing every button I can. Okay, so Y button does that. No, I've tried right stick, left stick, my arrows. And I can't even seem to get out of this profile now. my god, I don't know what to do. Okay, that happened. I'm not sure how I got to Dalton like that. Okay. I'm pressing right. I'm pressing right. I'm trying my buttons. Yeah, X button doesn't work either. That's really weird. Okay, you know what? Let me reload where I was. You know what? If we're gonna reload, let's just go ahead and look at the others. I'm terrible. So much for the doctor being literal, right? Left shoulder joint internally augmented following injuries sustained. Okay, severe fracture of ulna. Oh, ow. Due to trauma from sudden impact whilst piloting armored frame, that would hurt. Automated ossification procedure commenced and completed by 1923. No indication of long-term damage. I knew you had PTSD. Called it. Refusal to ascend CBT is... For complex PTSD is... Okay, emotion. I think that's what EMDR is. I'm a psych person, I should know this. I was trying to remember if CBT is like the leading treatment for PTSD. I can't remember. SSRIs as well. Oh, buddy. Dylan? Nut allergy. He would. Okay. Frickin' Vanessa. Recurring complaints regarding low-impact conditions. No positive diagnosis to date. Potential hypochondria. Oh, okay. Are you? Investigated for enhanced sensory potential. Following 3 consecutive wins in youth frame racing championships. Results inconclusive. Further assessment required. And then Chief didn't have anything to say about that. Okay. Let me go back and load this and see if that can reset if I've somehow messed something up. So I can go back, and once I'm on the main menu, it doesn't seem to let me go anywhere. Direct diagonal? Doesn't seem to. Not seeing anything in the devs Discord from searching. Oh, thank you for trying to look. Okay. No, don't skip. Okay, so none of my L and R buttons do anything. Directional button to the right. Diagonal, no. Right stick, nothing. Arrows just go up and down, same with that. This will take me to my save. X button. Oh, okay. No. Oh my god. We made it. Okay. Sorry, folks. I don't know why that was so hard to get out of. I was pressing everything multiple times. Something wrong with that datapad, Lieutenant? What did I even press? I got back to the list of names. I think I hit B and it brought me back to the main menu, like it would if you were in the function screen, but it had the datapad option. Then I scrolled up so I wasn't hovering on the datapad, and then I hit B again, I think. I'm not totally sure. Oh boy. Okay, that was a bit painful. That would be a lot easier with the mouse. No, why? Figured that after all that fuss getting the doctor's password that you might be a little more enthusiastic about proving Quinn and the captain innocent. I looked! The janky cancel maneuver or something. Something like that, yeah. I did get to that main options screen a few times and still wasn't able to exit out, so I'm not sure what exactly was causing it. I looked at Quinn, so I'm not sure what she's saying here. So you gonna start taking a look? Do you have something more important to do? Yes, right away, Chief. I looked! Oh, don't make me go back in. so I went... Let me just see if I... Okay, so from here, I press B, go here, press B again. That seems to work. I don't know why I couldn't get it to do that the first time. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. So I looked at Quinn. I'm not sure what she's talking about. Nothing else here? Oh, the neuroimaging set. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Chief, I've got something about Commander Quinn. Yeah, anything good? Maybe. Says here that he gave her sedatives at 21:22. It was around 21:30 when I came down and found the doctor dead before getting attacked. That's nearly 10 minutes before Rosarium's augments were knocked offline too. There's no way that she could have attacked him if she'd just been sedated, let alone kill him. Ha ha ha. Okay, so that was sedation time. Sedation. I don't know if I need to write this evidence down, but I am just in case. She wouldn't have been in a state to do much of anything. So we've got the Lieutenant Commander being dosed up with sedatives and Bartomew's having... What did the doctor call it? Vasalgia? I should write that down as well. Captain equals Vasalgia. Is that something to do with the bloodstream? If it was alcohol consumption? And the power was off. Looks like we've got enough to prove that Lord's full of crap. Definitely. This will be really useful. Let me just look at this.
Oh look, there's me, my anti-inflammatory, huh?
Okay, rehydrate with high glucose electrolyte mix accompanied by painkillers. Provide recommendations for counseling for alcohol misuse and potential addiction. Review completion of ossification procedure and assess wound closure and sutures. Run neuroimaging set 3. Do we have access to that? Okay, so that was 21:22 sedation. Okay. Whew, that was a lot. There we go, Lieutenant. Think that's it? Datapad shows that Quinn and Bartomew's were both out of action when the blackout happened. Then we've got information on that pad, as well as what we found out from the doctor himself that shows there's no way she could be the killer. Should be pretty good for convincing everyone, right?
Yeah.
What's up? Figured you'd be excited about the solid alibis we got for the captain and commander. I was just thinking we can show that it wasn't the captain and it wasn't Commander Quinn, but we've still got no idea who it was, right? Someone on this ship is responsible for the doctor's murder. If we don't find out, they'll still be out there. Even if we get Captain Bartomew's back on the bridge, we're all targets, right? We need to figure out who it was. That's a good point, Lieutenant. But how are you gonna do it? I have no idea. My brain is so... owie. Well, the datapad got me thinking. The doctor had his logs, right? Not that different from the whole ship. Almost everything is logged, so if we look at the records, we should be able to figure out who it actually was by tracking the crew's movements. Okay, we did mention the computer before. But with Lord on the bridge, she'd had the onsides on us before we got anywhere near the reports. Wouldn't surprise me if she's got a panic button all set up or something. Hey, no problem there. We don't need to go through the bridge. Everything on this ship goes through the central computer. Ah, that's why it was like, come back here later. Dun 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 dun. We can get over to engineering and take a look at the records there. Easy. Won't the onsigns notice? Don't worry about it. I've got them kept busy in one of the engine rooms. I'll take a look to make sure the coast's clear too. Thanks, Chief. I'm so glad I brought her. No problem. Let's get moving. Whew, okay. I feel like I might need to stop there. Is there still enough to get like at least an hour stream out of this, if anyone knows out of curiosity? The as much as I would like to keep going, it's almost 6 and my brain is kind of going blah, 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 blah. I'd say you have less than an hour left, but if your brain needs a rest, I'd say take the rest. Ooh. Ooh. Maybe prepare for a shorter stream next time for mental health. If it's under an hour, I probably could. I'd suggest not pushing it. Okay. We can always do a shorter stream. That's not the if I hadn't taken quite so long for some of the things in here, I feel like I could have maybe pushed through, but I don't know. I should probably stop. Okay, I'm gonna be responsible. Alright, folks, well, with that on the horizon, should I go over to engineering? No, I think we'll just leave it here. Okay, so we got the stuff here. We're gonna go look at the central hub, figure out who the heck may have done this, and then we can start getting alibis on our side based on the evidence we have, and then we can confront and hopefully punch / slap Vanessa. This is the goal. Oh, thank you for streaming. Yeah, thank you for hanging, and thank you for trying to help me troubleshoot the button situation. I now know what to do, but that was a little painful for my brain to get through. Apologies, everyone. Okay, I need to stretch. And I need to find someone to raid. Man, I'm really impressed. I was not expecting this whole, like, detective sleuthing piece either. They've done a really nice job on this game. Let's see, Zen is on. Oh, Ash is still on. We could go say hi to Ash. All the fun sci-fi tropes. It's been good fun, definitely. I'm still curious to see how some of the different options would play out once they've finished. That'll be interesting. What's she up to? I think we'll say hi to Ash. Okay, give me 1 second. I'll get that set up. Oh yeah, the headache is starting to set in. It's probably good that I stopped, even though I don't want to. I really am invested in finishing this. Mostly to be smug at Vanessa, but you know. Here we go. Definitely want a not hurty head for the next bit. Okay, good call. I will attempt to come tomorrow with a fresh brain, even though Friday brain is usually when my brain is at its most cranky after the end of the work week. I'll do my best though. I'll probably try and start a bit earlier. Maybe that will help. We must take care of our brains. They're very important. Alrighty folks, well I wish you a great rest of your days, nights, whatever time it is where you are. And tomorrow I think is gonna be our grand conclusion. I'm so excited, so we're gonna go say hi to Ash. If anyone wants to join, we have some raid messages there. And until next time, take care everybody. Bye!